Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foul Ball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well. I'm doing phenomenally. Thank you so very much. This is the MFer Cocktail Lounge, our little unofficial FNT follow-up show where we talk about the issues of the day. Generally, we kind of just get drunk and talk shit more than anything.
Yeah, we do.
But we try to keep it entertaining. We try to keep it a show and go in different topics and stuff like that. So thank you so much for joining us. And joining me today on the panel, we have just another red shirt. Hello, sir.
Hello there. It's great to be here again.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going really well.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Good to have you here, my friend. Good to have you here. And Nick, hello, my friend.
Matt, hello to you. I am so happy to be on here for a full panel. I feel like it's been like a month, maybe 2 months since I've been on here for a full thing. So I'm ready to have some fun and have another great Cocktail Lounge show. Last week's late night appearance went obviously very well. It was very historical.
Amazing.
Your most viewed Cocktail Lounge ever.
Most viewed ever. I hope that you're proud.
I'm very proud.
Yeah, I had a blast. I mean, that was that was just so much fun. And yeah, it was just, it's a great show. It's a great time. Great time. Yeah. So how you been, Nick? What's been going on with you, brother?
Oh man, I've been good. I got tomorrow. I'll be celebrating turning 34 in the morning, afternoon. I'm gonna do a mini Mahler stream celebrating it tomorrow, so that should be good. Obviously, Toxic Tuesday was kick ass this week. We did Big Trouble in Little China at Clobbering Times, Red Shirt, Man Mardigan, many others, and 70s came back too. 70s took off Ward for it, which is even more awesome.
That's rad. Yeah,
that's dedication.
Yeah, that is.
So. We had a blast of a panel. Next week we'll be talking The Last Boy Scout. I've had a lot of material I put out this week. I've been doing voiceovers with action figures, and I've been also I reviewed the new Maiden album. I got the new Carcass next up in line as well. And whatever pop culture rant. I did actually a Nicki Minaj rant video.
Did you now?
You might want to actually watch that.
What's your thoughts here? Hey, Thoth.
I did that. Hey, Lord Thoth. So yeah. All's good.
So what is your, if you don't, I mean, I don't want to take away views from your video, but what is your take? Hey, Thoth.
Hey, Thoth.
No.
Happy birthday.
Yes, also happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Well, we'll definitely get a little bit of celebrate. And Parrot Head, I see you in the chat to answer your question. The hair's just put back, dude. So that's all that it is. It's just one of those things where with this whole Nicki Minaj thing, it's just another layer of all the contradictions that goes on in Hollywood. And she's just another piece of the puzzle that proves everything that's, a lot of what we said all along. So I'm just giving you a vague explanation. Obviously, to me, she did nothing wrong. And whether I agree with her or disagree with her is honestly neither here nor there. And how I even feel about her music, whether it's positive or negative, is not even relevant. So I sound off on. I'm not one to do these type of videos, but I needed to do it to get it off my chest, and so very unusually well received video. Probably one of my better received videos. So
that's terrific, dude. Good. Yeah, me and Vidge were talking about that on the Cocktail Lounge the other day, or the Culture Crime Fighters the other day, and yeah, it's interesting to hear like a lot of the mainstream media, mainstream like comedians and stuff like that talk about it and get the whole thing wrong.
Oh, I know, right?
I feel like almost everyone who's talking about this publicly has it all wrong. Like they're focusing on the fact that her story is like it's silly. Like it's just kind of like, 3-4 degrees of separation from her, which is worth like, that's part of the story. But the other part is that like a major celebrity who didn't say anything super controversial other than think for yourself was then taken off her Twitter account for 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly why, because she has those words. I mean, it's amazing how, once again, if you see a pattern, obviously Gina Carano was like the one who like lit the fire, but then like a month or two later, like even though she didn't say much after, but Letitia Wright, aka Shuri from Black Panther, said some stuff, and then Don Cheadle, her own co-star, was shaming her. Yeah. And now she's been off Twitter since, and now you got Nicki Minaj. She got 3 women, 2 of them black women in particular, and it's just funny how this narrative of we want to hear from diverse voices and different. It's really they just want to hear from people who look different than them but say the exact same thing. It's just different
That's
shades.
exactly right.
Different shades of the same ideology is all that this garbage really is.
That's exactly right. And that take that you just said, that was what got me into the comedian Ryan Long. Was he had like a video about that? It was
so
like,
good.
he's so funny. And it was like a tech thing, and it was like like I wasn't really on board with this diversity thing yet until I realized I could get all these different people to say exactly my opinions. So we've got Asians that hate Trump, white girls that hate Trump, gays that hate Trump, and it was like the whole thing was just like that. Like as long as you just say the thing, they're obsessed with diversity. Like that's
I know.
That's their obsession. But then it's like, if the second you disagree, they come after you with like the force of 1,000 suns, going after her like white nationalists and all this shit. It's like this black icon is suddenly like in league with white nationalism because she doesn't agree with your take on fucking COVID vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. This is pretty wild. It's a wild time, man. But it was interesting to see so many people. I didn't even hear people like mentioning it. Like major radio shows didn't mention she got kicked off Twitter for a day.
Well, of course they did. Well, you gotta remember, she is a huge, huge, huge name. She's very largely influential in that type of thing. I mean, I don't know for sure, but if I had to take the best shot at an educated guess, you probably would have to not talk about it as much as possible to not bring attention to the situation. Because let's also forget, like, Twitter is not the real world, but a lot of people like to use it for reference when it's to their advantage. And Hollywood is, public enemy number one of doing that. So for them to utilize that would be a disadvantage. So they got to not talk about it. So now how that gets followed up is going to be, that's going to be where it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, like I'm tired of people saying like the internet's not the real world. Like there's some wisdom in that, in the sense that you shouldn't live here all the time. But it's not bullshit. Like it influences policy. It influences the public conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It does have an effect on the world.
It has an
us.
effect. Oh, it does to a degree. I mean, this is one of those things where, I mean, I kind of gave like guys like Donald Trump crap for why didn't they just join Minds or Rumble. But looking back at the time, I can kind of see why he didn't. It's because, once again, this is like the Twitters and the Facebooks of the world. That is where the public setup is. That's where the public square is. This is where people go to have a disagreement or engage in discourse. Because, I mean, as much as I like Minds, I don't use Rumble, but I'm aware of hardcore echo chamber that is Rumble. So it's just like, I mean, if you want to put out if you're trying to actually like, reach out to people, I mean, you'll reach out to more people that's agree with you in a way that's good, but you're not going to really gain much long term. So you got to go where the fight is, and the fight is YouTube. So as long as we're on here, we got to stay here until they get rid of,
absolutely
everyone else.
You got to be in the town square. And it's like, it doesn't help to just talk to the zealots, to just talk to the people who are already converted. It doesn't help. They already agree. They're already on board. If you guys are just going to hang out and agree with each other, it's like this worthless conversation, utterly worthless. And I just want to address something Joe K said. Some gays like Trump. That was me quoting a bit from Ryan Long. That's very true. People of all walks of life have all different kinds of opinions. That certainly wasn't something I was saying. It was just the bit. You know what I mean? It's like, I know a gay guy here in Austin that loves Trump.
Oh yeah, right? I actually have heard. I from what the voting poll said, apparently his numbers went up in the Black community, the Latino community, and the gay community on top of it all. So once again,
he was wearing a MAGA hat and MAGA shirt at this bar that I work at, and he was like making a big deal out, like just getting in people's faces. It was actually hilarious. I was like, this guy is just trolling this whole bar. I love it.
Yeah, no, there are gays that absolutely do. Hey, like I said, the numbers in the gay community, they went up. So once again, how you feel about or not feel about him, those are just the facts of life. That's all.
I think that's the issue. I think with a lot of the left wing stuff is that it really does. I think it's like the word is demagoguery, if I'm not mistaken, where it's like they just group people into they create like everyone who is not of these groups thinks this way. And everyone who's in these groups thinks that this way, and it's like it's not true. Like,
No, it's not. And I'm glad you mentioned that. And I want to bounce off that because I've talked to people who I guess you could say lean left, some who are, no, they're not really into a guy like Donald Trump, but they don't also agree with every single thing.
right?
Something like CNN or MSNBC say. I guess you could say they're more moderate. They just, like, I know some who voted for Joe Biden, but they think that this whole vaccine stuff, like with the mandates, is all absolute insanity. Mm-hmm. So it just shows you there are different thinking minds. I know people who are super right wing who are all about the vaccine. If you want a public figure example, look no further than Ethan Van Sciver. I remember he did a whole stream around it. So it's just one of those things where it's just like it's not right as an anti. It's just, once again, talk to your doctors, folks.
Yeah.
So we're not doctors. We're just having opinions, nothing just factual. Right. It's one of those things where, and I know, obviously, I live in a town that's very conservative, and a lot of people were all over getting it. Well, and that's fine. I will not judge you for your choices. That's fine. So it's just amazing how these news outlets continue this thing, and the worst thing is a lot of these people they buy into it and they go for it, and it's just like, how many times does the news need to get it wrong for you to realize they don't care? Yes, and Islington Girl, she's right. He is about it. Trump is about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
DeSantis as well of Florida, they are all about it. Like they're like
I said, that's fine.
No, and that's fine. I don't care. Once again, that's true. It's just amazing how these guys literally say these things out in the open air, clear as day, like water is being wet, and yet they still say this thing on their outlets, and people still believe it. It's just like, do you like pretend that this stuff doesn't exist? Like, yeah. I just can't believe we live in a world where people like they want to believe in whatever makes them feel better, even if it means believing in a lie. Like, I couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with that. Like,
no,
it boggles the mind. Like, it really does.
Yeah, I have a problem with an alleged vaccine that requires you to get one shot, then a second shot, and now they're talking a third shot. That's bullshit.
That is thought. Yeah. That's what doesn't make sense. Especially, I'm glad you mentioned. Let's go by poke. So I get what you're saying though. It doesn't make sense. Whereas when they first said, this is absolutely 100% you're good, and then a few months later they moved the goalpost to, it can't guarantee you. And now they moved it to boost. We'll just say boost. Now it's just like, so what's next? Is it going to be one, then two, then boost, and then what? Number 3? Like, it just goes to show you how messy the whole spectrum of all these outlets are. Media, politics, medicine. They're all corrupt, and to some degree, and maybe not even some, maybe major even. I can't prove it, so I'm just going to say some, just to also be more optimistic. They're all connected in some ways. At the very least, there's connections, and it shows. Obviously, they're never going to admit it. A lot of these guys would rather have their balls, grinded by sandpaper than to ever admit that they're connected. But
there's a lot of pushback. There's a lot of pushback from first responders because they're starting to tell us up here. The Canadian government is saying, if you're working as a first responder, and that's what I do, they're saying, you should have the third shot now, the third poke, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. It makes no sense to me that if this is an effective vaccine and quotation marks vaccine, then why are we looking at a third one now to be able to supplement what we got in the first and the second? There's no way. It should be one shot, bam, that's it. And if it's not effective, they need to tell us that. There are provinces in our country right now that are going through a big rise in people that are getting the coof, and it's starting to get bad. Shout out to Alberta. My heart's with you. I have good friends and family that are in Alberta right now, and it's kind of a scary situation. So this whole conversation about this, it makes me wonder. I'm a conservative and little c, and I've always been that way. But yet I get a lot of concerns with the way the Liberal government has been dealing with this, and I'm sure that my brothers in the United States are feeling the same way. The UK, look at Australia, Italy. I mean, it's something that's happening
Wow.
that it just
Sorry.
it may need a change in our perspective here to go forward.
Did you
Yeah.
see this from Sentient Dildo? He says from October 1st, EU is no longer recommending vaccines. They will recommend ivermectin and some other drugs as treatment. The whole EU.
Hashtag, we are still not doctors.
Definitely
Yeah.
not doctors. I'm just
Well,
reading a chat.
The thing
Like,
is
that's
that
crazy.
Yeah, well, no, Matt. The thing is that now we are now in pretty much the only country in the world that isn't doing that. That isn't pushing those as alternatives to vaccination, to the jab.
That's insane.
And I work with people in the medical profession, and I read articles and I read medical, doctors' blogs, doctors' posts. I've read things that were published in medical journals. I've been researching the hell out of this, and I'll tell you what I'm finding. There's a lot of individual pushback in the medical community against this narrative, but there's an awful lot of pressure, immense pressure for them to toe the line. In fact, one claim I heard was that all the nurses at one hospital were required to sign NDAs.
Of course they were all required that. Of course they are. That's how you compromise them in their positions.
Right.
That's exactly part of the game.
Right. So the
I
point
agree
is,
with you, the Islington girl. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to shout out that I agree with her.
I just hope that it works. Because are you guys still dealing with mail-in ballots? Because if you're dealing with that, you guys are gonna have some trouble, just like the U.S. is.
Yes.
There was a big study in France about IV, and the EU accepted its findings. Wow. That's really interesting. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of kind of like conspiratorial things about the whole the jab and the poke, because it was about like, it's like there's something with the emergency measures and how it's kind of just rushed through all this red tape, and because it has to be considered like an emergency or something like that, if there can't be any other treatments available or something like that, so that's why the whole media is like collectively like going against the IV narrative. And it's just it's amazing. It's like we witnessed 4 years of the media just flat out lying constantly.
Yeah. Like Russia.
Yeah. Like any kind of dictatorship. And it's like and we're looking at it now, and it's like they have this universal like agenda to make you do this thing, and then there's like, here's a provable treatment that like seems to work. They're like, how dare you say that? You're gonna kill people. And it's like, do you work for the pharmaceutical companies? Like, what the hell is this? Like, this is clearly propaganda.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the people who say to you, don't speak out, you're not a doctor, are going to be the same people who also say, you better go do it. It's like, well, you're not a doctor too. Who are you to speak? And that's the thing. These people speak out of such rage of emotion. They are absolutely willing to contradict themselves 100%. Not even 5 minutes later after they say one thing and then go to another thing. And they don't even care that because it's not about being consistent. That was never a thing for them. They don't care about that. I've learned to these type of people, especially when you'll hear the words, and this is a very popular words. I know everyone's heard this in any argument in their life. When someone does something that, they call the R football, when they do it and they utter the words, this is different. You want to know what the common denominating theme is when they say this is different? It means we got the upper hand. So of course, we just got to mask it as this is different. So if we say that, it sounds better. But if you say, well, this gives us the upper hand, well, then it's really bad. It's euphemisms. It's all euphemisms. It's if you word things in a way to make it sound okay, people buy into nice language. Even if there's evil intentions, if you talk about it nicely, I mean, people are buying into the whole Afghaniland thing with the whole, well, they're talking about death to America, but they seem like nice people.
Yeah.
And people buy into that. And once again, I don't care what side you lean on. I just like how, no matter what side you lean on, how could you buy into this? Like, it just shows you how gone people are. How gone people are.
Yeah. Like, you're just going to blindly trust this? Like, it's amazing. Like, there's just so much evidence of inconsistency, of narrative, like trumping, for lack of a better term, trumping the truth, trumping, you know what I mean? Like information where I get like kind of both sides and like, hey, make up your own mind. It's like they never do that. So why in this instance would I trust you? Like, and why do people on a grand scale, do they trust? It's
It's
I don't
become
know. It's
about
more,
validation. That's another thing. Like they've used this whole thing with the group thing to make sure they're validating each other amongst their peers. So they love the group mentality and they love dogpiling. I mean, we've seen it obviously. Once again, I'm referencing again guys like EVS when he came out about his stance. All those creators on DC and Marvel were dogpiling him, and not one of them apologize or say, oh, maybe we went too far. Not a single one of them.
No,
Not
like,
a single one.
Matt, I can answer. I think I can shed some light on your sort of comment / question. Why would people trust them when they've been so inconsistent? Their narrative, their story has changed over the last year and a half. And I've asked a couple of people that who are very vested in what they're being told. And their answer, the very smug answer, by the way, is that, well, that's the way science works. As we know more, we change what, we understand something new. As we get new information, the conclusion changes. So what they're arguing, and I think what they're doing is rationalizing, following this today it's, if it's Tuesday, it must be, 2 masks, and if it's Thursday, it must be this, and so forth. They're rationalizing it. They're saying they're telling themselves, well, that's because they know more now than they did when they said a different thing. And the idea that they said one thing, then they said another thing, then it went back to thing one, doesn't break their rationalization. And at that point, it becomes cognitive dissonance.
I guess to me, it's even more grander than that. I don't even think of it like, oh, well, they've been inconsistent. I'm like, I don't trust them about their motivations.
Right.
Like, that's what's weird to me. It's like, oh, well, let me scrutinize this. Like, no, like, I don't want to even be influenced by them because simply they've proven themselves to be universally unreliable. So why would I listen to you or trust you at all?
I haven't heard your comment before about how in order to get an emergency use authorization from the FDA or the CDC, whichever it is, the treatment in question has to be unique. There can't be an effective alternative. And if that's the case, that explains the narrative about every other form of treatment.
Totally. And I don't know if that's true. So don't
right.
I heard someone else say that.
So that let's preface that with it. If this is actually the case, it would be telling, but we don't know if it's actually the case.
To what?
Here's all right.
What is a ute?
To you, I don't know.
A person, a juvenile.
Oh, I'm sorry, youths.
Yeah, utes. Utes.
2 utes.
Yeah, 2 utes.
See, when people use like questions like something changes to rationalize their position, that's when you got to play hardball. Like, okay, how many times does it need to change before you realize, what, maybe something's not right here. Maybe we're trusting the wrong people. Because just a few days ago, you had the mayor of San Francisco go partying out with BLM. And, of course there was excuses. Oh, but they're both vaccinated. It's just like, okay, I don't even care if that's true. It's not about the fact they're partying. I don't care if it. Go have a blast. I don't care. It's the fact that they enforce these rules and they break them. Like, how many of these guys need to go out and violate their own rules for you to realize, like, you're getting played at this rate? I'm not, and this is not denying that, the Chinese bug is real. It's just, or fake, sorry. It's a very real thing. Very, very, very. It's just, how many times how many times does this need to happen? Like, I almost want every crook to go out in the world and party their faces off, like on public camera, justice. Yeah,
the entire Met Gala. No one in that whole thing. A bunch of regular
celebrities. Yeah,
but I was saying none of them are wearing masks. I know it's like they're, but it's like somehow that's acceptable. I was in a bar last night in Austin, and like they had a sign that says must wear a mask to approach the counter, and I was like, you can't enforce that, not legally, not in this state. The governor said you can't. So I walk in and they give me a mask, and I was like, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to. So like I didn't, but like these people are still living in this world where it's like it's necessary. Like, and apparently like in cities like LA and New York, it's still wild. Like there's so it's like
it's become culty.
Yet you all can gather for this event and no one wearing a mask, and that's completely acceptable.
Or the riots from last summer. Let's not forget the riots from last summer. Some people are like, oh, but they're wearing masks. I'm like, yeah, they're wearing masks, but how many of them were there by the thousands violating social distancing? I thought it was supposed to be about
Every one
having
of them.
both elements in play.
Yeah.
It's just endless. Like the thing is, a lot of these people they want their argument. They try to bulletproof their arguments. They want to be free of any criticism of any kind. So they're trying to make themselves exempt because they want their idea to be the only way. Yet they'll say the science changed. Once again, they'll contradict themselves. They'll say this will change, but this is settled. So it's like, hold on. You went from trust the science.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'm going to check out this. I say, no, not that one. Or how about your boy Zach with the whole comic thing going up, being dissatisfied with the answer. Go make your own comic. He goes to start his own book. No, why are you doing that? Or how about with Parlor? Go get your own platform. They try to hit their own platform. I'm just saying, I'm painting a very bright picture of this whole. They don't really want you to get your own this. They just want you to shut up and listen to what they have to say and expect for you to consume it.
Exactly right. And no dissent. Just
no resistance.
Agree.
Consume.
Don't think. Don't
obey.
Question.
Yep.
Yeah. And to me, it's like the second that's the agenda, I'm out. Like I'm like my flags go up, and I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Like I can't.
See, Matt, that's why you gotta watch Primal all the more.
Is it really that good, eh?
Me and Quarter Black did a panel on his channel about that show, and not only is it a great show, it's super savage. And the same guy who did Samurai Jack, Andy Tartakovsky, which is a masterful show, better version of the Clone Wars, might I add, on top of it all. Dude, it's so good, and there's no dialogue. There's no dialogue.
I gotta see it,
It's on my list, but I've got to get through these unbelievably awesome What If episodes first.
Oh yeah, are they burning a hole in your watch list?
Oh, it's the most awful cartoons I've ever seen in my life.
I'll tell you what, though, Thoth, I like the one Doctor Strange episode.
That's a pretty dark episode. Maybe that's why you like it.
Is that the one that Critical Drinker likes?
I don't for that, but I could see why you think of that. No, my whole gist was it really made, even though it made it feel like the show had stakes, it made it feel like there was genuine heavy stakes at hand, and the ending was an emotional gut punch that I'm like, oh my god, like, don't get me wrong, as much as I enjoyed that episode, I did need an immediate palate cleanser after that, so I put on Bluey, so I did do that. But yeah, no, I just felt like the execution of it was really good, because it's an interesting concept to think about. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? And for those who are wondering, is that physical? No, it's more of like a mental thing. Like, no, his heart, like his emotion, his feelings, and
his love.
His love.
His true love. Yeah.
Yes. You see what happens when that drives a guy with sorcerer powers to try to like undo something that is an absolute certainty event. And I feel like that episode issued a very challenging concept and did it well. And normally I don't ride with all the dark. I really don't. Like, I'm the type of guy, like, I love comics like Blue and Gold, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle right now from DC. I like stuff that's just super fun and action and ridiculous comments. But that episode really was awesome. And also Mr. Chuck Billy from Testament did some screams and gutturals for that episode.
I'll give you that out of all the episodes, it actually made me go through the credits, because I paused after the end of that, and at the end of it, and I went, wow, that was effing dark. And then I thought about it. So I guess really I'm kind of still on the fence whether or not I liked it, but it made me think. As opposed to the zombies episode, where they were trying to come up with these comedic moments in a very, very dark scenario. The whole stuff with Jim joking about Happy becoming a zombie, and then like it just a whole bunch of things happened in that episode that just made me grit my teeth more. I would rather have 15 people take their fingernails on a chalkboard and go from top to bottom than watch that episode again, because it was awful. And that last one was terrible. The one with Killmonger, what if Killmonger saved Tony Stark, was just boring. Like it was another Wakanda Black Panther episode. Like, how many have we had so far? 3?
Doesn't that not make sense time wise? Hi, everybody. I haven't
Wait,
seen
who is
it.
that?
Hey.
Oh, yeah. It's Vigilante Wednesday here on the 30th. I forgot which number is episode.
33?
I think it's 33, isn't it?
33. Illuminati confirmed. 33 episodes of this. Holy smokes.
That's
I know
right.
most of them. But no, that wouldn't make sense time wise because he would be 15 when, you know what I mean? If Black Panther, the way the Marvel Universe works is the time it comes out is the year it comes out. Outside, it's not a 5-year jump. But like, so when Black Panther came out in 2018, he would have to been 10 years younger to have saved Tony Stark. So that didn't make any sense. Already,
I agree. Yeah. He would. That's
whatsoever.
right. He wouldn't have been a lieutenant in doing his wet works projects.
No, he would have been like a recruit or something.
If
that. Yeah, maybe
Cold
not even
Air.
in high school.
Cold Air wants to know, what if Matt had more hair, or what if Matt went to Romania?
That's the
The world will never know. But I mean, it does sound like
What if
compelling fiction.
just another red shirt was just another gold shirt?
Oh.
Wow.
Now, I got an interesting concept that a coworker of mine pitched, which sounds like it should have been a comic book, and I can't believe he actually. What if Captain America saved Magneto from the Holocaust?
that'd have been pretty snazzy.
Right?
That is an interesting idea.
And I'm like, Peter, you should pitch that idea to Marvel.
That's a great idea.
Right?
It'll never happen because it's not woke enough.
No.
But
Yeah, that would never
yeah,
happen.
could you imagine if like Magneto? Yeah, of course not. But I mean, if Magneto was like a good guy or something like that, like that would be interesting. And maybe like because the timeline was so weird, Xavier becomes bad. That would be pretty fucking cool.
That would be cool.
I would like to watch that. And hey, Nick, this is for you, buddy.
Oh, dude, thank you. No, I'm going to start drinking too. Oh, by the way, I want to show you guys. I'm going to debut this next thing that's going up on my wall since my wall's been expanding. So my girlfriend decided she had to give me an early birthday gift. And lo and behold, Tom Cruise is crazy, but this flick rules, and I now have the vinyl. Top Gun. Yeah,
is that
vinyl, dude.
Nice,
That vinyl is amazing. I love that soundtrack. That is in my top 5 soundtracks of all time.
Dude, I can't wait. I'm gonna blast this thing. It's gonna be beautiful.
Man, that is such a child of the 80s right there.
Oh, yeah, dude, so good.
Out to Lady Nick Weiser. Nice find.
I know,
Yeah,
dude.
shout out to Lady Nitweiser.
She did good. She did real good. Right before I got on here, she's like, "Hold up, before you go, you want to see what your guests?" I'm like, "I can wait." And she's like, "No, just come on." And I'm like, "Oh, fine, okay, let's see what you." I'm like, "Oh."
That's pretty awesome.
Wait, have you guys ever seen the Tarantino thing? That's like the theory about what Top Gun's really about.
No.
No. Do tell.
The homoerotic message.
Just. All right. This is great. Hopefully.
Scripts ever written in the history of Hollywood is what?
I don't know why there's no video. That's weird. Is there no video on this? Oh, there. Okay. I guess it's like a.
In the history of Hollywood is
What?
Top Gun.
Oh, come on.
Top Gun is fucking great. What is Top Gun? You think it's a story about a bunch of fighter pilots?
Yeah, it's about a bunch of guys waving their dicks around.
It is a story about a man's struggle with his own homosexuality.
Isn't every story like that?
And it's about. You've got Maverick. All right, he's on the edge, man. He's right on the fucking line. All right, and you've got Iceman and all his crew.
Right.
They're gay. They represent the gay man.
Right.
All right, and they're saying go the gay way, go the gay way.
Wait a minute.
We need a beard.
Hey, fuck you. Don't. What the hell?
Clips.
Fuck this guy. Just the
I've
whole.
never even
I just
seen
want
this.
the.
What's the film about? What's it
There we go. This is all right. Can you hear this one?
really
Yeah, I
about?
can hear it.
What genre does it take?
What like it? It's like the spine.
The spine.
Like one sentence. Like
No, I don't fucking Boy Meets Girl. I don't give a shit about that. Fuck Boy Meets Girl. Fuck motorcycle movie. No, what is really being said? What's really being seen? That's what you're talking about. Because the whole idea, man, is subversion. You want subversion on a massive level. You know what one of the greatest fucking scripts ever written in the history of Hollywood is?
What?
Top Gun.
Oh, come on.
And he's right on the fucking line. All right, and you got Iceman and all his crew.
Right.
They're gay. They represent the gay man.
Right.
All right, and they're saying go go the gay way, go the gay way. He could go both ways.
What about Kelly McGillis?
Kelly McGill, she's heterosexuality. She's saying no, go the normal way. Play by the rules, go the normal way. And they're saying no, go the gay way. Be the gay way. Go for the gay way. Right? That is what's going on throughout that whole movie.
What is this party? Who are these people? They make me sick. What is that? Who are you? Who are you? What is he wearing? It's some kind of
Little departure.
dance
Can we get back to the
freakish
monologue,
little
please?
Gaucho. Let's go to
cut this
Spain
scene
and
out.
dance with our arms over our heads. And
You're wearing
He goes to
shirtless,
her house, right?
fingerless
All
gloves.
right. It looks like
Shut
they're gonna have sex. You know, they're just kind of sitting back. He's taking a shower and everything. They don't have sex. He gets on the motorcycle, drives away. She's like, "What the fuck? What the fuck is going on here?"
Right.
Next scene, you see her. She's in the elevator. She is dressed like a guy. She's got the cap on. She's got the aviator glasses. She's wearing the same jacket that the Iceman wears. She is okay. This is how I gotta get this guy. This guy's going towards the gay way. So I gotta bring him back. I gotta bring him back from the gay way. So I'm gonna do that through subterfuge. I'm gonna dress like a man. All right. That is how she approaches it.
Right.
Okay. But let me just ask you. I'm gonna digress for just 2 seconds here. But I met this girl Amy here. She's like floating around here and everything.
God damn it! Get to the point.
Now she just got divorced, right?
I saw you.
It's a really good point.
I was
What's
asking my
this from?
friend.
I don't know, some shitty movie.
You know, just.
How did they get
Minutes
Tarantino
at
talking
the
about
end.
Top Gun?
All right, because he has passed over into the gay way. They are this gay fighting fucking force, all right? And they're beating the Russians. The gays are beating the Russians, all right? And it's over, and they fucking land. And Iceman has been trying to get Maverick the entire time. Finally, he's got him, all right? And what is the last fucking line that they have together? They're all hugging and kissing and happy with each other. And Ice comes up to Maverick, and he says, "Man, you can ride my tail anytime." And what does Maverick say? Maverick, "You can ride my sword fight! Sword fight! Sword fight!" Fucking it, man!
The
gay way.
So excited about it, but yes.
Shout out to the This ain't taking my breath away.
Dude, but I can't now. I
Highway
can't watch
to the
that movie.
danger zone, brothers.
But I can't watch it now. Like I can't. Like every time I watch that movie, that's what I think of, and it's like shit. It really is. It's there, like the homoerotic volleyball and all the. Oh
Yeah, in 4K, brother.
yeah, dude, it's real. It's real.
It is. It is.
Hold on, just one quick little second.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the
Ogre Squasher, bitch.
Ogre Squasher.
You now need
Ogre
one with your own
Squasher.
logo because it's like it has mine instead of yours. You need to put the little fireball thing on.
Do you know
Well,
what?
that was the weight.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah, it's
great
like that.
bottle of scotch right there, man. That's a great $100.
That's
That's
an
yeah,
incredible
right?
bottle.
Yep.
Wow. Ogre Squasher. Very generous man he is.
Thank you, Ogre Squasher.
Generous. Hail the mighty Ogre Squasher,
Funding these streets.
funding these streams. I want like
that buys a lot of noodles.
ramen for the year. Hail Ogre Squasher. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. Our pilot friend, our pilot buddy.
That explains everything.
This really should be the MFer Cocktail Lounge, an Ogre Squasher production.
It really is.
Everything we do.
He's kind of
like
our
having
George,
a-
right? He's our George Molo there.
Yeah.
Ogre
is.
Squasher. Not quite the same effect.
Ogre!
Yeah.
The ogre.
Yeah.
Ogre.
Ogre Squasher.
Ogre.
Hail, my good man. Thank you very much. Well, let me see if he said anything, because he never does, but sometimes he does. Did he say anything? Nope.
He's an ogre of few words.
Ogre Squasher, you are the man. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate you all the time you support. You're incredible. You're an amazing
Okay.
guy. Tremble before the might of the Ogre Squasher. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, my good man. Hail,
man.
hail. Indeed you are. Indeed you are. Yeah, but it's so funny. Like once Tarantino put that out there, and it's like, and like the volleyball scene and the whole thing, I'm like, shit, he's like onto something here. I think he really is. So I don't know. That's I always thought that was funny.
Man, but Tarantino, like his mind is like he's a weird guy for us.
He is a weird guy, but
Yeah, he is. He's got a very twisted mind.
He does, but he's like, attention, Dildo. Wait a minute, MFer Cocktail Lounge, cocktail gateway confirmed. He is.
See, you can if you look hard enough, you can find it anywhere.
Find it anyway. And then Cold Eris is just like the Matrix is an allegory for trans.
Exactly.
Yeah, good point. But I mean, look, okay, you know what? Maybe you're right. But he is also like a genius when it comes to understanding film language, and that might just be like something. But I don't know. It's like it's kind of hard to not think that when I watch it now. But you know, hey. Anyway,
I've always had my suspicions about those Navy boys.
Oh boy. Shout out to the entire military. But listen, I will say this: there's some like homoerotic elements. You know what I mean? The volleyball scene has always gotten jokes, right? It's always kind of people have made fun of it in that way. So I don't know. And speaking of Tarantino's foot fetish, he was able to suck Salma Hayek's toes in front of everybody and got away with it.
Genius.
Whoa! What did I walk into? How come I'm into sucking on toes?
Yeah, from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that was quite a
Hayek.
scene, actually.
This was 95 when it came out.
You've never seen this?
That was when Salma Hayek was really hot.
Oh
yeah, her prime.
Oof.
I can feel the toxicity in here skyrocketing.
When she comes out there slithering around, like, woo!
She's so insane.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
I'm not gonna. I can't play the whole dance, but I'll play just like a second of that moment with. Yeah, because we watched this on. We did a little praise stream for this movie because it's excellent, holds up incredibly well.
Everyone watch it.
Everybody watch it. But
and those are not.
I have a theory that they co-directed it because the first hour really feels like a Tarantino movie, and the second really feels more like a Rodriguez film. Like the first one's like a grounded kind of crime drama, and then the second part is over the top. Like a vampire, like crazy kind of campy horror movie. So I have a feeling that they co-directed because it does feel like it's got both of their flavors on it.
Yeah, a good point.
But yeah, it's a fucking terrific movie. It holds up incredibly well.
It does feel like two movies, though. You're right.
Right?
Yeah, which is kind of the whole gimmick of the movie. And honestly, the second part, when I rewatched it, I realized, oh man, that transition happens really late. I thought it was midway through. It's not second, third, last third, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Last like maybe 40 minutes.
Maybe 40, but yes, it's definitely
you
past the halfway point.
You straight up forget it's a vampire movie every time.
Yeah. Well, see, I went into it looking for that and like, wait a second, that right? It takes fucking forever for it. There's a whole movie before we get there.
Yeah, and it's a really compelling movie, and it's to me, it's like one of those gems that kind of got lost. Like it was not the biggest film. And I think when we were doing the stream, we were talking about how big that year was for movies. It was so many gigantic blockbusters. And it was one of the like just got lost in like the mix. That's actually something I wanted to address from FNT. So Chris Gore was talking about how the last great American film movement was the 70s. And while I'll argue there was a lot of great films that came out of the 70s and it really was a renaissance in Hollywood, I still say the 90s was
I would agree with
Oh,
you.
the 90s.
I'm thinking he was talking more about big directors, though. I think that I get your point because I agree with you. There was some great stuff that came out of the 80s, obviously, a lot of independent films, but a lot of good stuff came out of the 90s. But I think
unbelievable.
He went massive directors that really changed the way we looked at movies. I think that's kind of what he was looking at. But yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I do.
Yeah, I don't think it was the last one. It was a really important one, but it's not the last one. I mean, we've had some great eras in film. I mean, the 90s was incredible.
I would say the 90s are incredible. And I would say even with the directors, we're named two of them right here, Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, as far as the 90s, as far as changing things. So it's like, listen, the 70s had some heavy hitters. You got Spielberg, Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of them were getting hit
Martin
the ground
Scorsese.
running. They were the guys who were the next wave. They're the next wave.
And so that's kind of unprecedented. But it's still
Stanley
like
Kubrick.
Yeah,
Kubrick, right through the 70s.
Lots of great. There was so many. Peter Bogdanovich, and then there was just like the Cassavetes, who basically was like the first like independent filmmaker. Like, there's a lot that comes out of the 70s, and I'm not negating. I love the 70s. They're some of my favorite movies, but wasn't the last great era. The last great era was definitely the 90s.
I think really technology changed the way we looked at movies too in the 70s. And that's a really good way to look at it too. It wasn't the end all and be all. We've seen how technology has changed movies right up till recent memory and green screen and CGI and everything like that. But back in those days when you had to hand paint your miniatures to make a sci-fi movie, or you had tanks and set out a field for like Patton, or there's a whole bunch of movies that you can talk about from the 70s and into the 80s and 90s that really technology really changed the way we looked at movies. And that was what those big directors really got in touch with. I think that's why we've seen some great stuff that come out of the 80s and 90s was because of that.
Agreed. I got a Canadian 99-cent super sticker coming in from the Islington girl. Thank you so much. It's that drooly emoji face. That drooly emoji face. Thank you.
I think
very
she's
much.
thinking about playing with the boys there on the volleyball field.
Yeah, well, and she did the next one she sent was she made everyone sandwiches. Thank you.
Oh,
very
thank you,
much.
Islington. We appreciate the sandwiches. Shout out to the Islington girl.
Shout out
Cheers.
to the Islington girl.
I have to give a little shout out to Pat S for mentioning the song "Playing with the Boys." By the way, I can't take full credit for that.
Well, I was going to mention this as well. The Ogre Squasher, Hale, the mighty Ogre Squasher, says if you watch the volleyball scene from Top Gun, the guy sitting behind Tom Cruise and Goose actually was a F-14 pilot. He had him as a recurrent flight instructor in Dallas a couple years ago.
Awesome.
Pretty
That's why you have
damned interesting.
It's cool when your benefactor's an actual pilot. He can give you that type of insight.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I don't know. Wonder if he means that guy in the back there. He said it was the guy behind Tom Cruise. I don't know, but that's pretty fucking interesting there, Ogre Squasher. Hell.
Yeah, but like this volleyball scene gives like that scene. It's like there's credence. There's tons of credence to this scene.
Goose is such a tease there too. He's wearing a shirt. Like, what's up with that?
What's up with that? Right. Want to see rippling man muscle in the sun?
Maybe he means that guy in the red hat behind him.
He's got these three guys that have got like 8-packs and like muscles coming out anywhere, and then you've got Goose.
Right. Which is why he's wearing a shirt.
Yeah, he's got the spaghetti arms there when he puts his arm around Mav, and I'm like, Goose.
I love how there's so many shirtless dudes in this.
Yeah, definitely not gay. It says the guy behind. So Tom Cruise and Goose. He must be one of these guys. He must be like one of the extras. That's pretty fucking cool, Ogre Squasher. Thanks for that tidbit.
Is this the female gaze then, or the male gaze that we're thinking about now? I'm kind of
the
confused.
super gaze.
Matt, I just realized we're on the Culture Crime Fighters.
Oh shit, you're right.
It just hit me.
I didn't even
I'm looking down at Culture Crime. It's not Wednesday. I'm not that drunk either.
Thank
so
you.
it's like, where we go?
That drunk. So he's on
Not
his
that
way.
drunk yet.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. I'm just starting now.
My God, I boomered it from the beginning.
Now, Matt, on the other hand, is probably really drunk.
I got
Islington
super
girl.
drunk last week. I can't do that anymore. Yeah, I have no problem with this
I
shit.
mean too, bitch.
Man, I got scared. Please don't end the show. We had to keep the show going a couple hours because I was just that drunk. And I just was too scared. And apparently it's the guy in the red shorts.
The dude in the red shorts.
The dude in the red shorts.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the guy all the way to the right. And that guy is a real F-14 pilot. That's fucking cool as shit. Dude, that's so like flying those things is insane, man. When you see like those guys in like the cockpit and like just the slightest stick movement.
Of course,
the whole
no
thing
shirt.
Just like
Of
course.
Have a fucking shirt on.
I've met tons of naval fighter pilots, naval aviators. I've become good. I actually back in the days when I was posted to Cold Lake, we used to have Operation Maple Flag. Every year we bring in the Canadian version of Top Gun. We bring in
doesn't sound quite as
F-14.
cool. I got to be honest. Operation Maple Flag doesn't sound as cool as Top Gun.
Hey, I love maple flavored things.
That's
me
right.
too. I just don't associate them with badass fighter pilots. That's all I'm saying.
That's why we had a girl go to the U.S. Open Finals there, Layla Fernandez. She said it was because of maple syrup, dude.
Okay, you know what? My mistake. I stand corrected.
I've got a cousin who was a Rio in F4s and then F14s, and he actually went to Top Gun as a radar intercept officer, a backseater. And he was back he was in the active service back in the 80s. And he told a couple of stories, and I can tell you that he absolutely loved Top Gun.
Yeah, we all did.
That was just he couldn't watch it often enough.
It's fun. It was. I mean, it's cool as shit. Like the the plane porn is really badass. I mean, all like it looks so good.
And
But
from the
what-
80s too, like that was just unbelievable. The 80s, that movie, I've seen it several times in the theater. I own every version of it there is in existence. I love it. And as an Air Force veteran, it's one of those things that you just love to pop on and watch. But
It is
yeah,
cool, let's
there's.
be honest, yeah.
I mean, I had some good buddies off the George Washington too. They came to Cold Lake, and we played Crud together. We had some drinks and told stories. Crud is an traditional Air Force game that you play around a pool table, and combat Crud is, let's just say, it's there's lots of broken bones and bruises and black eyes because
it sounds like you got into a fight.
It pretty much is.
Right?
It's a bunch of guys. It's a bunch of those guys from that scene with all the muscles and everything beating each other up over a pool table. It's like pool except without the sticks, and it's just it's violent. Yeah, it's a lot
Pool
of
without
fun.
the sticks?
Yeah.
Do you punch the balls?
Pretty close to that, actually. Yes, you have to make sure. So
this is helping fucking his argument.
Just Google those out there that are curious. Google Crud, and they'll understand.
Was it
okay? We got
curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an Air Force tradition. It's a game that
right.
You play in the officers' mess. It's officers that play it, not the enlisted guys. So it can get even more violent.
Jesus!
I actually got thrown halfway across another pool table into almost another room playing combat Crud with these boys. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
The Islington girl says most pastimes in Canada are beating people up.
It's like hockey. Just think hockey, except with pool tables.
Oh, it's like full contact
I fail to
pool?
see the issue there.
Full contact
pool. That sounds like a magical time.
That's hilarious. Full contact pool. Wow, that's pretty wild.
Matt, I sent a clip in the private chat.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm just gonna fill in some blanks for you. So there's this activist writer named Kelly Sue DeConnick. A lot of people
love her.
Well,
Oh.
apparently reality hit her hard today, and there's a clip that apparently we gotta watch, and I haven't watched it yet, so I hope it's not something I'm just being alluded to. But I thought why not debut it here and hope that it's actually worth watching. So fingers crossed that this actually is reality hitting her. So let's give this a watch.
All right. She looks like a very reasonable person.
Oh, this video.
If you don't,
this is a different video.
If you don't like my books or don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
My book. And the entire comic, yeah, and the whole comic community was like, all right.
Yeah.
Happy to oblige.
What happened?
Like, wow, you just did us a favor.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
No
Deal.
one
Thanks for the heads up.
And then absolutely no one did. So well done. They all listened. All right.
I think I tend to be pretty optimistic, but in this one, I'm worried. I'm straight worried. Because stores are closing at a phenomenal rate. Independent comic sales are down.
She just looks like the most uptight person. Like she looks so unfun in every
way.
It's
I don't get this part because she's married to Matt Fraction, who's actually a competent writer and one who's actually done some good comics. And yet I'm like, how did that guy end up with that cockroach? Seriously.
Because people do crazy things for box. That's why.
I mean,
I can attest to that.
Like, seriously, you look at her and she looks rotten to the core.
She does look. She looks like a miserable person. She looks like a librarian who enjoys like scolding people who talk too loud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But look at her hair. Like this is one of the women that have been ginger siding us all over the place, right?
Oh
and
yeah.
yet she has the audacity to put red hair on her head. That just POs me.
That's wrong.
Nothing says
That's just wrong.
Better than that.
Nothing says
I think
adjusted like the 50-year-old with a nose ring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I honestly think that expression on her face is perfect because I think that's the comic industry right now. I think they realize Whiskey Tango Foxtrot did we just do?
I don't know about we. I can't imagine they think.
Maybe she did, but I'm actually shocked because if there's one guy who will never concede to this, it's freaking Dan Slott. Seriously, like Dan Slott would rather get his balls fondled by a child molester than to ever admit he was wrong to anything.
Yeah, good point.
I wish it wasn't a good point. That's the problem.
This is a hilarious metaphor. He'd rather that happen. It's like, oh, all right. All right, let's finish watching this brilliant clip.
Mainstream comic sales are down, except for the top 3 or 5 books are up, and everything in the mid list is way down. Numbers that used to be numbers that would get you canceled are now like, no, that's a hit.
Yep.
You know, and independent books making back the cost of doing floppies is like names that should be able to do it no sweat are going into the red on singles.
Really unattractive.
Coming out until the trades.
Yeah.
And what do you attribute that to, Kelly? That is the fucking question.
Yes, that is.
Why did suddenly a thriving industry drop off the face of the fucking earth? Why? Why would that happen? Why would an entire industry go under? What's the common fucking thread? People just stop being interested in comic books? I don't fucking think so, because I've seen fucking Marvel movies, and they're everywhere.
And fucking manga. People buy manga all the damn time.
Exactly.
You can tell, like, she does realize it's her fault, but she will never admit it.
No,
like,
she
I can
won't.
look in her face.
You get to know she knows, but for her to admit it, she can't do that. You know why? She'll get eaten by the crowd that she's been advocating for, and she does not want to be, written off and blacklisted by her own crowd, because that crowd will turn on her in an instant, and they're gonna blacklist her. And she'll have no legitimacy of any kind if she admits she's wrong, and that's how these people are. They
eat their own.
They eat their own, and I would respect any of them a tad more if they say, you know what, we mess up on this. Let's try to fix this. Like even Jeff Johns.
Even if you don't admit it and you just release one book that isn't incredibly politically charged, how about try that? Like I don't even need to hear the words. Just try to make one thing that doesn't fucking suck, and then maybe people you could get back in their good graces. But everything you do is to make a point, to subvert something, to destroy something that came before it, and then you're wondering why the industry is destroyed. Who can connect those dots?
Yeah,
it's so complex. It's like astrophysics.
I'd like to believe. Sorry, Thoth.
No, go ahead.
I'd like to believe that the pain that is so obvious in her face in that clip is coming from her own realization that if you don't like my politics, you don't buy my books, smug ass attitude is the source of this disaster befalling her industry that she's been in. But I don't think it is. I don't think I'm willing to give her that much benefit of the doubt. I think she is horrified by losing her platform.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's what's causing the pain in her face.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I can't get my message out to anyone anymore. I'm a nobody.
Tell everyone how to think.
She wrote after she did Captain Marvel for X amount of volumes at Marvel. She went to DC, wrote Aquaman, unshockingly made it about Mera. The book did not sell well once she hopped on the book, which I wonder why. Whereas before her was Dan Nabnett coming off the Rebirth run. Jeff Johns, and when he got his Rebirth initiative going in 2016, he actually said, you know what, we need to fix things. We need to make this right. So that's the closest that you'll get to acknowledgement of we messed up. Can we try again? And I'll take that because that at least shows me, okay, you realize there's an error here with the new 52. Let's make this right. And for a while, it seemed like they did. But the minute Jeff Johns stepped down from his position, it turned right back around into like hell again. And I was,
of course it did.
When Rebirth hit in 2016, dude, I was reading so many of those books. Like I was reading a lot of Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, The Flash, Nightwing, Superman, Action Comics, Red Hood and the Outlaws. I was even reading Blue Beetle. Every book, it was cool because a lot of the continuity was very tight in these books too. Like it was like this is how books should be written. Like it's great. And like Red Hood and the Outlaws wasn't what you thought it was. It wasn't just like a book about Red Hood, Artemis, and Bizarro. So you got these weirder, odder characters he's working with. Like it was just like the worst books were even not that bad. Like you had an average Suicide Squad book that just happened to have good Jim Lee art, but there's so much good stuff. And Superman was great again. That was the coolest part for me. I enjoyed Superman. They embraced the nuclear family dynamic. Had the dog, had the son, had Lois. Clark Kent was Clark Kent. It was great. It was fun too. It was very uplifting. Even there was even single one-shot issues of the family going out for a night at the carnival, like being a family. And then you'd have a whole story arc, one issue after that, around fighting a villain. Oh God, and that will be the last run. That'll be
forcing the patriarchy.
Oh, I know. Now Jonathan Kent is activist mode, and I feel like there's a time and a place for political themes, you could say, in books. You know, if you're like trying to solve corruption and they made like a political issue, but when it comes political to the point where you're shoving your beliefs and lecturing down people's throat, because like it's been obvious, like a character like the Green Arrow is pretty openly liberal, but he's still will save anyone at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
well, the thing is, like, Hollywood's been liberal forever. Like,
yeah,
people knew, and you know, you'd get like the occasional like annoying like speech thing, or someone would make some stuff, but like it wasn't, you know, it's like I noticed it in
liberal now.
Yeah, like I noticed it in Field of Dreams. Like you go like there was like some like 60s like hippie, we're smart kind of thing, and there was like a little bit in there, but it was so just like a little thread, just a little piece of it that you didn't notice, you didn't care. It's really, I think it's more the intolerance than anything.
Yeah,
I think
that's the new thing.
You know, it's the fact that you're not like even thinking differently. Like they'll try to get rid of you. Like they don't want you as fan. Don't buy my book. Like that whole thing. Like the second you disagree with them, you're labeled like something terrible. I think that's where people really were like, all right, you know what? We're fucking done. We're over this.
Man, how much money? Because like she cost the comic industry millions of dollars with that statement, especially when you consider the nature of comic book fans who buy tons of books at one time on a regular basis. And when you cut off, even if let's say 50,000 people just said we're not going to do that anymore over the course of years, that's still a lot of money into local shops, into the comic industry that just stopped because of her statement. Like I can't.
And also,
really
her point is bullshit. It's not. People are not. They don't have a problem with your personal politics. No one cares. It's the fact that you include it in what you do professionally, and that you've now made what was established brands, things that existed. You use them as a platform for your own ideas. That's the problem. Like the creators of The Expanse are insufferable on Twitter, but up until last season, they never put it in the book, or they never put it in the story. It was just like an ancillary thing. Like, yeah, okay, like that's what they think. Whatever.
It was in the book, but not until later on. I'd have to say after book 5, it really started to be. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, but 5 books, you know what I mean, and 4 seasons of TV, you had without like any kind of political lecturing, without any kind of condescending, you know, snarky bullshit and whamming power. It was okay. You think that out in the world, but you don't put it in your work. I don't care. It's like, it's not about your personal politics, Kelly. It's the fact that you destroy these things with your politics. That's what people don't like.
She made activism first, story secondary, maybe not even secondary. Maybe doesn't even make the numbers list.
Doesn't matter.
It was all about activism first, because you can weave story and have a political theme, and it'll make sense, and you can interpret it many different ways. Like there are some Green Lantern, Green Arrow issues. Mr. Thoth can back me on this one, where those two basically debate each other on a lot of things. You had different point of views clashing. Did you ever read some of those stuff?
Oh, I own them.
But
they never took the story over. There was like a couple of panels where they argued about things because one's liberal, one's conservative.
Yep.
And there was like well, you can't do this, but you can't do this, but we're going to solve the problem anyway. I think one of the things that she said, not to sidetrack you there, Flava Flav.
No, go for it. I give it to you.
Spoke to me because she said, there's, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 books that are selling. And those are the ones who would have gotten canceled 5 years ago because they're underselling. But let's take a look at that. So there's a microcosm within the industry that we're not considering here. So what are those 5 books? I'm curious as to what 5 books she's talking about. I can tell you King Spawn.
I was going to say, I think I have an idea.
I can tell you that EVS I can tell you that there are comic books out there, not just Kickstarters, but in the industry themselves that are doing well, like The Last Ronin. Like those comics are doing well because of one reason, because they have a well-written story that isn't political. Their whole platform is not about politics. It's about telling a good story with some cool characters. We're going to see boobs. We're going to see knives. We're going to see some kick-ass superheroes. We're going to see some fantasy characters. All of those Kickstarters out there right now that are doing so well, like the Vampirella comics, when they have 25 covers. Well, 23 of them are all about her and that skimpy little outfit with blood dripping down her, and she's got this sexy pose, and she's looking at you, and she's grinning, and like it's all about that. So the industry has a very specific clientele, and if you PO that clientele off, they are not going to buy your comic book. And when you're talking,
why would they?
350 million Americans, 350 million Americans. And if half of them are buying your comic, that's why you have $1 million sales.
Dude, it's like trading study hall for detention. It's like,
it is.
I want my free time. I want my fun time. I don't want to fucking get lectured and get in trouble like while I'm reading comic books. Fuck you.
All right, to answer Cold Air's question, what Savage Avengers well received is different than well sold. Is it well received? I've never read it personally, but do I know people who read and liked it? Yeah. But as far as translating into sales dollars, that it didn't translate that. That I know because I love the hell out of Robert Venditti's Hawkman from issue 1 through 29 on my pull list. Read it till it ended. Loved the hell out of the book, but it didn't sell very well. It did not, and it's a heartbreaker because you ask a lot of Hawkman fans, they love the hell out of the book. A lot of people who know. Who read DC books that are not Batman and Superman love that Hawkman book. I even convinced Gary Nerdrotic to read it, and he's got it now. He wants to read it, so he's like, I'm like, no, read these trades. I'm like, this is a run worth reading because the first thing it did, and this is a big one for comic fans. There's this thing called the Hawkman problem. Venditti solves it in the first issue. So done. I won't explain it. It's convoluted. But he solves it first issue.
Haven't they reintroduced that problem by making Hawkman black?
That's movie.
Oh, that's talk. In the movie. That's the Shazam
movie talk.
Yeah,
I'm talking
Black Adam
books.
movie. I mean,
I'm talking comic books.
Okay.
And I can say that I bought the first 6 issues of Savage Avengers. I always give a new title, at least 6 issues, and I dropped it right off after that because it was awful. And I will say this. I'm going to quote my wife here because she's a normie, and she says this: whenever I get all upset over movies, TV, or comic books, she says, I don't understand Lord Thoth. I don't understand.
Your wife calls you Lord.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Fucking based ass Lord Thoth.
She says, I don't understand why they are targeting an audience that will never buy this, that will never watch these movies, that will never watch these TV shows, that will never buy these comics. She says, I'm that audience that they're targeting. And I'm not, the only reason I watch this or look at this stuff is because you do, and because, I get a chance to watch the romantic comedies with her. And that's the trade-off. She's not going to buy these comic books. She's not going to go into a comic shop and go through the list and buy them.
Women empowerment, though.
But I understand why manga is taking over, and that's something that we have to consider. It's because the young audience is buying that stuff because that's who it's targeted for, and that's who loves it. So you're taking an industry that's been around for 80 years, and you're deciding to go and take a left hook and go completely opposite to what you've built that industry on for 80 years.
Exactly.
And throw it out the window and go full bore at an audience you're never going to get because you know what? They already have something they love. And
it's
just use manga as an example.
It's not isolated to the comic industry at all. Like it's also we know it's film and television and stuff like that, but it's other brands too. Like there was this website I really used to love, like I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. It was cracked.com, and Cracked was like
relevant.
Yeah, it was like an alternative to Mad Magazine.
Oh,
like
heavy metal
too.
You can use heavy metal as an example too.
Well, I don't know that one. I just know this one because it used to be they have these really interesting articles like about like video games and stuff like that. It would be like how they kind of trick you, you know what I mean, as far as like the satisfaction payoffs and stuff like that. And then they would do like lists of like things in video games they're sick of, and it was just really cool. Like I just love their content. And then one day it was like angry social justice warrior stuff like out of nowhere, and you're like, what is this brand suddenly? Like used to just be like cool geek shit, and now it's like all this like wild angry, you know, like white nationalist blah blah blah. And it's like you just like you had a loyal audience and they were not there for this, and now this is what you do. No one's gonna stick around for it.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a conflicting thing, Matt, on where like it's like I start to wonder at times if they even care that the books are being sold, because it's not just these writers and artists who are making these activist first books doing this. It's also editorial. We have to remember that, because there's a process when these books are made. They have to be run through people. Some people who have to make sure, like, you know, for continuity purposes, stuff like that. Also to check for like typos and such. These are the people who got also, maybe they see something that could be like, hey, you know, maybe that's not appropriate for the book. We should take that out. These people, the editors, they see these things. They're probably some of the last people that see these things. I'm not sure for sure, but I would not be surprised if they're at least one of the last, these editors. And they let this stuff slide, and they're equally complicit in some ways more. I mean, what's her name? Heather Antos, when she was an editor for Marvel many years ago. Dude, typos up the ass from all the writers everywhere. And she, and because she probably wasn't there, she probably just said, this is fine, didn't look at the work. It's kind of like the teacher who doesn't look at the assignments and just gives every kid an A. She basically just said, okay, your work is good, your work is good. These people have no spine. There's no backbone. They don't want to say, hey, this needs work.
They have no genuine
they don't, because
they're not
if they
fans
did,
of anything.
No,
like, and that's the same thing in the movie industry. You hire people in these to make these Marvel movies who don't like comic books. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, I would say it's worse than that. They do have a conviction. It's politics. To piggyback off of Nick's point about editors, everyone remembers I Am Not Starfire, right?
Yeah.
Self-insert.
Masterpiece.
No, I forgot.
And I bullshit you not. This is an old video of Wes from Thinking Critical, so that's my source.
I love Wes.
When she was at Marvel, they basically said that she was too focused on action. She should have been more focused on basically politics. So the editors said, you're not woke enough, Miss I Am Not Starfire. Yeah. You need to make it woker. Like that's they're more. It's not just these individual writers, and they get a lot of blame. They should, but oh man, Vita Ayala, all these people, all these writers I hate. No. They're not only hired specifically for their politics, they're encouraged. How come there's so many action scenes? Why aren't you talking about feminist agenda? That really is happening.
It's true. Yeah. No, bitch, you're right. They're literally looking for these people. And that's why even Marvel stopped. Even this is before all their books were going to hell. Like they stopped this process of having people, fill out stuff and show what they could do, whether you're a writer, artist, inker, etc. It became, well, Marvel will find you.
Yeah.
And Marvel finds them instead of you find Marvel and try to get their attention. It became Marvel found them. There was a time where that wasn't as damaging as it was now, but once that became about finding activists first and finding your Vita Ayalas of the world, where they need to try to find these names. And, it would be very hard to argue these things if these books were selling. But, dude, I'm at a comic shop that's been around for a quarter of a century. It's one of the biggest stores in Illinois, comic shops in all of Illinois. It's a big deal. Alex Ross knows who this store. Alex Ross is friends with the owner of this store. So it's a big deal comic book shop, one that Humberto Ramos raised $1,300 for with a drawing of Richard Rider Nova for. So this is how big of a deal Keats Comic is. So by that, I can get a good idea of a demographic of people that come in. And I'll tell you, man, Keats got loyal people. Even people who come in and still buy all those X-Men books that they claim to hate so much will still read every single copy, which I've been beyond gone from. But they really respect Keith as well. Keith is always great to his customers. His wife is awesome too. I've gone out for nights drinking with Keith after he closes up shop. We've gone out for nights raging and talking about comics, debating who's the better Green Lantern.
No.
I know, that's so out of character for Nick. I wanted to point. Spencer Dildo said this. He's like a comic story, no place for women. Just ask Amelia Clark. Like, remember we pointed that out. Like, she was saying how she was intimidated as like a young kid, like being in there, like, as a girl. I am fucking so sick of that narrative. That narrative is utter bullshit. Like,
it is.
Every single nerd girl is like worshipped. It's like the second a slightly attractive girl enters the nerd sphere, people are like, oh my god, like they fawn all over, they lose their mind that there's just a girl around that's into this shit.
Oh yeah, they do.
I'll tell you what, my wife, so for Christmas, birthday presents, stuff like that, she goes to the comic shops and she'll go in and she's worshipped like a queen when she goes in there. That is just a BS narrative. That's because she's writing a comic book about how she gets superpowers from her period, like, which is unbelievable. But like, there's two things I wanted to speak to, like Nick, what you're saying and stuff too. Is one, what's happening in the industry is this. We just saw that video where she said she looks completely shocked. I don't understand what happens. These comics used to make, $1 million sales. Like, there was millions of copies that were sold. Now they're down to none. You know why? Because 85% of your audience are not going to bitch and complain about it. They're just going to leave. Most people, when they're done, they're done. They're not going to talk about it. They're not going to bitch and complain on Twitter, because you know what? A large percentage of your audience is not really on social media. A large percentage of your audience.
Mark Millar even said that, Thoth. Mark Millar himself, and he's the guy who got out of the sinking ship. He said it himself. Guys, your audience, the majority of them, they're not on Twitter. Most of those people who talk about, oh, this is so good, I'm glad that Marvel and DC is doing this, they maybe, and I have to emphasize the word maybe, they might come in and buy that first Ironheart Riri Williams #1, then walk out that door, take a photo of themselves with the copy in hand, probably post on Instagram, and they never come back for issue number 2, number 3, and so on. And then the books gets canceled somewhere between 6 and 12. They cancel them, and then they wonder why these books don't sell. The problem, these guys, these Kelly Sue DeConnicks, your Tom Taylors, they assumed that when these books were selling better, that they assumed that, okay, well, they had these numbers, we can say anything, do whatever, and they're just going to consume the product. So that number, they thought that number would automatically translate to them, like they're going to have it carry over to the next writer.
Plus, these people,
that's what they thought, and they assumed wrong.
Well, and this comes from my experience in Hollywood. It's like these people insulate themselves in these ironclad echo chambers. Like, there is no dissension whatsoever. Every single person that they know and interact with, that they're friends with, they all have the exact same opinions. They all agree. They just hang around and agree with each other. I've seen it happen. It's repulsive. But it's like they're doing the exact same thing. So when they put out a comic that's like lecturing the audience about the things that they all agree on, it doesn't even occur to them that people won't enjoy it, because everyone in their sphere all think exactly the same way. So to them, the audience will love it because they think like this is the right way to think. If you didn't, you're just some Nazi. And it's like they don't realize that this is just your tiny little elitist corner of the earth, and most people don't think the way you do.
Don't put it.
Nick, that was why I was going to say, but to your point, they thought those numbers would continue. That's why they got into the business.
Yeah, because they knew
they wanted those numbers for them to put out their message.
Yes, it's exactly what they want. They thought it'll automatically translate. So they were shocked when it didn't translate, and not only did it not translate, it took a deeper dive than freaking Leonardo DiCaprio's body did in Titanic, man. That shit was fucking gone, man. That ship is now just slowly sinking, slower than that oh man. That move, oh man. They had so many years, they had so many solutions to solve this problem, whether it was changing editorial, whether it was changing the writers. They could have had
just letting off the gas a little.
Oh, you see, you gotta let off so much, because once again, this is give an inch, take
people like
out.
Invincible, and Invincible in retrospect is pretty woke, but it's like
it's got woke parts, yeah.
But it's they let off the gas a little bit. It's not a full steam ahead lecture, so people like it.
Yeah, and I mean your point about the comic industry, as far as they thought the numbers, that's the whole entertainment industry as a whole. They thought the numbers would hold. That's why they, you know, and that's why you got a Last Jedi, you know, because and they kind of did for that is particular movie.
Yeah, they assumed that with Star Wars.
Yeah,
because they don't respect this. None of they don't like this stuff. They don't like genre stuff.
We're just peons. We're the idiots.
Yeah, they like high art, fucking self-indulgent bullshit. Like they like those Oscar movies that just celebrate how excellent. It's
gay cowboys eating pudding.
Exactly. Yeah.
And my second point that I was going to get to.
Sorry, thought.
No, that's okay. I get it. It's great. I love the fact that you guys are bouncing off of what I'm saying. I'm bouncing off what you're saying because, you know, Nick and V-Dubs, you know, a couple of things you just said reminded me of what I was going to say was the industry right now is in ruins and it's in tatters for a very specific reason, which I'm not going to go into because we know what I'm talking about. But you hire the right people for the job. And in my line of work, if you don't hire the right people for the job, people die. And if you don't hire the right people for the job to direct and produce movies and TV shows, especially for an established property, that property is going to die. And we've seen that from Star Trek, Star Wars, on and on and on. I can go on and on, and I'm not going to. But I think you could save billions of dollars because you're leaving a lot of that on the table. A lot of these properties are dying because you're leaving all that money on the table because you want your woke agenda, your SJW agenda in your story when you really should just write a good story. You need to get the directors and the producers of the people that love these properties, and I bet you any money that you could pay them peanuts to do this. If somebody came to me today and said, would you like to write a Green Lantern TV show? I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it for free right now.
You can't though, just because of union regulations. You literally can't.
But I get that. But there are people in the union that would probably do the same thing. I think that.
Oh yeah, but that's why unions.
And give me free reign. And give me free reign to do whatever I wanted.
Like if I was offered all my time in Hollywood, so it was like you'll be in the new Marvel movie, but you'll do it for free. Of course I would do it. Because it would suck, but it would be the insane exposure. You couldn't turn it down. That's why unions exist. Because it's like I mean, kind of. They became something so completely different. But that is like in the entertainment industry, so many people would work. You do work for free. Most of my work I ever did was for free because you know people like if, you know for work and exposure, people just it's their passion. They'll give in for free. So you can't you can't do that. But I think in comics they don't get paid a lot, right? Like
No,
they're not
they
making,
don't.
especially
they're
now.
not making, especially now. They're not making shit. A lot of them,
Right.
and
You can make
they
more
rather
at a gas station. I'm not bullshitting you.
No, you're right. And don't forget, like Mark Waid, when he was on the decline with his case with your boy Zach, he was trying to do a Kickstarter for his book he was putting out through his indie publisher, and it didn't amount to shit. And that's coming saying a lot because this is the guy who wrote Kingdom Come, and he wrote a great Black Widow story that I liked with Chris Samney a few moons back, and he pushed away his own fan base, and they responded back in return. They didn't care that he left. They cared that he pushed them all away and wrote them all off. That's what they care about. And he's one of those guys who it works when you have the talent and you write something good and you still do it too, much like the artist Bill Sienkiewicz. He's playing the same game now too. Writer Jerry Conway's doing something. He wrote a great essential run on The Amazing Spider-Man. One of the second or third writers of a legendary run on that original ASM book. He's doing the same thing too. They're just all in on this, and it's even worse when it comes from guys who are talented. It's even worse, and that's when it's a bitter pill. Because once again, I was really into books like Kingdom Come. I have a hard time reading it. It's not because he said a few things. It's how wild he became and was relentless about it for a few years. There's a fine line of separating art from artist, but he went a great few miles across that line for me where it's just become too hard to read. And I hate that because I see that book, it collects dust now, and I can't get myself to read it. And I love that story.
I'm with you, man. I like, especially when they become really like toxic. It does become difficult to consume their thing. It's hard to separate the two. You're just like, that's that guy who fucking hates me, or you know what I mean? Like, hates the idea of anyone disagreeing, and you're like, I don't like watching you.
Speaking
Like,
of toxic, what's going on with Sentient Dildo? Was he kidnapped? He agrees with Matt. He's saying hi to newcomers. Am I in a different universe?
I miss the days when all these people did their jobs, stayed in the studio or stayed on the lot or whatever, and just kept their mouths shut and put out good entertainment.
Yeah.
Instead of getting on social media and pointing fingers at the people who have nothing to do with your failure. There's a reason you failed. It's not the people on social media saying you did a sucky job. It's you did a sucky job. You got to start taking responsibility. If you're putting out crap, there's a reason nobody is buying your book. There's a reason nobody is watching your show or movie. And that's just it. It's just we all are adults here. We all have to stop blaming others and take a quick look in the mirror and realize you just got to put out good stuff. And that's the end of it.
Yeah, that's totally true. But Sentient Dildo,
get out.
Sentient Dildo has been taken over by a pod person. This is
man.
Something's going on.
I think
this is an invasion of the body snatchers.
Yes, it is.
I think so.
But
sorry,
to
Nick,
kind of
the mirror universe Sentient Dildo.
Yeah, right. Exactly. What if Sentient Dildo was a kind human?
Yeah.
What if?
Go ahead, Nick. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh God, it must have not been. Oh, hey, Sandy Q wrote Nerdrotic. Sandy.
Hell, Nerdrotic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There's a raid going on. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Showed up.
Absolutely.
So there's so many contributing factors. Vigilante thought, and I know thought him once again. Obviously, we're guys who go to our shops for many years. A lot of the guys who shop at our shops are men, and when there are the few women that come in, we acknowledge the hell out of them, and then some, with respect and just courtesy. We're
and
just
excitement.
Yes, and hospitable.
That's into your thing. It's
and we
fun.
love helping them, and especially if they're not familiar. So we want to help them with knowledge and say, "Hey, look, this is
them, you toxic."
So we're happy to do that. So, but the thing is, as I said earlier, a lot of them, they kind of just the few that do come in that look like a blue checkmark whale. The few that do, they'll come in and get that number one, and they won't come back. They buy it for validation points, so they can get the likes on their Instagram.
Of course.
So they say, "Look at me, I support this number one," but they don't come back for 2, 3, and beyond because they're not the audience. And there are the few girls that do come in, the few girls that come in that buy those books, they like them for what they are. And
yeah,
they're
like
not
the Islington girls of the
I
world.
think of it like like if you have like a successful, say, relationship. Sorry to those of you that don't, if you're listening. But when you're with your guy or girl, you're go into the relationship accepting them for whom they are. Hey, Nick, you're wise beyond yours. Thank you, Sentient.
Crazy.
And this is the 21st century.
Sentient Dildo's been hacked.
Let's get past that. This is the 21st century. This is not 1970 anymore, where nerds look at girls and we're like, "Oh my God, it's a girl." This is not then. This is very much an equal society now, and we're all about that. And if girls want to come in the shop and look at comics, that's cool.
It's just
really
the concept they were ever excluded is fucking insane,
right?
Like
It's
it used to be like the chick that would wear a Star Wars shirt. You'd be like, "No, golly gee whiz,"
Yeah.
you'd be like immediately into her.
Well, you have to understand. You have to understand, Matt, that nerddom has evolved socially over the years. I mean, when Thoth says this isn't 1970, think about it. That's 51 years ago. Wow. I couldn't talk to a girl 51 years ago. I was 7 years old. I mean, that girls had cooties.
Well, I had a question actually, and this is kind of for Thoth and Nick wise. Then I have a point to make to why this happened, and we can kind of touch on it. But in the 80s, and I'm so bad with comic history, but was it the editor at DC? She was a woman, right? The main girl. Like she was the one who came over. Can I
Are you
think of
talking
this
about
person's
recently,
name?
or are you talking about?
No, in the 80s. It was in the 80s. I think it was
I
her
know,
idea
you're
to
right.
start
You're
paying
right.
the writers.
There was a female, and I remember
And that's how they
that was
got
a
it.
big deal because you had her. God, now I can't think
But,
of
like,
the name.
She made an impact. That's I
Yeah,
can't
she
think
was
of her
great.
name.
Jeanette
She was
Kahn? Was it Jeanette Kahn?
I think it was her. She was an impact the same way Annie Nocenti was an impact on Daredevil. And Annie Nocenti had a great Daredevil run that not only was great, but she had to follow up Frank Miller's run. She had to follow Frank Miller. Annie Nocenti, a female, followed up Frank Miller and delivered another historical Daredevil run for the Man Without Fear. She even created the legendary character Typhoid Mary. So she brought her piece to the table. And guess what? She is very left. And guess what? She made a great story. She showed different sides of things. The story was first. Go back and look at it now. If you want like a more broken down thing, you have your boy Zach. He's done some stuff on Innocenti's Daredevil. Innocenti's Daredevil is great. It's awesome. Read it. Buy it.
If I go by memory, I think in like 79 or 80, Jeanette Kahn was the president of DC Comics, and she came in the mid 70s, but she had some really, really good ideas, and a lot of what happened to comics in DC in the 80s are because of her.
Yeah.
I think, is that who you're thinking of? That's
what I'm thinking of.
And I'm completely going by memory.
We may not have gotten a Watchmen. We may not have gotten a lot of these things because she paid the writers more, therefore getting more of the writers, and gave them free reign, and we got like great stuff out of it. And this is the 80s. This is before Trump. Before 2016, where they invented everything.
Before they hated Trump.
Before Clinton.
Yeah, they still like Trump. They were showing him at games and shit.
He was partying with them. They loved him for his money.
But
I know she pushed a lot of the DC multiverse to happen, right? A lot of the stuff from the Justice League and a lot of the so we had Earth 2, Earth 3, all that stuff that was happening in the 70s, especially in the in Bronze and Silver Age DC Comics, and she kind of pushed a lot of that, which pushed towards the Crisis on Infinite Earths. So she had a lot of the way DC Comics was run in the 80s. Yeah, absolutely.
There's always
women have been part of comics since the beginning.
They've been involved in nerddom the whole time. Everyone loved Princess Leia. Everyone loved Ripley. Everyone loved Sarah Connor. Like all these, it's been a part of it the entire time. It's just that it's not the women who are like taking over now, because those women aren't fun. They're not into this. They're not fans. Like they're not fans, and they're not, and so they feel left out, and then they make it about sexism instead of the fact that they're just not cool. They're just not like into fun shit, and that's why they were always excluded, because no one fucking likes you.
And you know who else was huge amongst the women, and that boys and girls liked? Remember Kimberly from the original Power Rangers? Everyone was about Kimberly. Everyone was about Kimberly.
They get idolized. You have Red Sonja. It's not. There's women involved in this stuff is the idea that it's like new or that it's a long time. It's like insane. It's like the basic girls that they're just, now that it's popular, they want in, and like this isn't right. It's like it's not for you. You don't like this stuff. Go.
You know what?
Then when you bring them in, you get sex workers with armpit hair and period power. It's like nobody wants this.
Amazing, Matt. I'm glad you mentioned the words "it's not for you," because these are the same type of people who like to talk about how these need to be more accepting, or their buzzword inclusive, but yet they'll utter the words "this isn't for you." It's like, okay, well, which one is it? Because if you're gonna say that's not for me, then you should have said that shit to begin with. Like it's no one's perfect. I get it, but obviously they were never friends. They were in there because they wanted to translate their message to what they saw was decent sales. When Marvel had your books like your Secret Invasion, Annihilation, Civil War, Fear Itself, that was a time where Marvel and DC were both actually doing well. And this is something I had when me and we were on the roof at George Bolo's room, Matt. Me and Gary talked about that because that's when Gary was working at his comic shop and Keith was working at his comic shop. Every comic shop was doing amazing because you had the big two both firing on all cylinders. DC was killing it with Hal Jordan being irrelevant again, and the Teen Titans were big. It wasn't just Batman. You had Marvel having Daredevil with Bendis and Brubaker, Spider-Man. Regardless of how you feel, Straczynski, it did well with fans. You had a lot of Marvel books people were buying. And when Bendis had a good book, he wrote the first version of Jessica Jones ever titled Alias, which was a badass book. You had so many cool... Iron Fist had Brubaker. Iron Fist had a kick-ass book. So good.
That was a good book.
Can I just pause the conversation?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, Vidge had another question, though, there, I think, didn't you?
Well, I just saw something in the chat that I was like, what? So Kaylin James says, "Hi everyone, I am from Trinidad and Tobago, and news reporters have threatened Nicki Minaj's relatives."
That is so messed up. That is so messed up.
This is getting out of hand.
Obviously, we can't confirm this.
Trinidadian fan base and no shots.
Yeah, hail to that.
Being here, bro.
we can't
whoa.
confirm that. Like, we don't know. This is just someone chatting it. But if that's true, holy
Messed
shit,
up. Yeah.
dude!
Man,
Wow, man.
this
The
Nicki
second
Minaj thing is out of hand.
I think it's a bigger deal than people are making it out to be. We were
I
talking about it earlier,
because
man,
it is. But you question anything, then there's a problem. So
Well, she's one of the pillars of like the modern entertainment scene, and once she
Yep.
got out of line, they're like, whoa, we can't have that. She's just supposed to,
Oh man, Luke,
he just clawed me.
looking a little. He went Return to Jedi, tried to take your arm off.
Did the Illuminati get to her yet, or what?
I
They
don't
might.
know, but
Maybe
that's-
they're making threats. That's what Caitlin Jane seems to think.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
Some
I
of
said, we
these
can't confirm it.
guys-
I don't know, but like,
Cannot confirm nor deny. But some of these guys and gals in the media are a little bit more than news reporters. I'm not trying to. I know Alex Jones was last week, but the reporter name is Charlene. Oh, I'm not going to try to mispronounce that name live on there. But
Charlene Maharaj.
Maharaj.
I think so. Wow. Okay. Sentient Dodo's really creeping me out. He says, guys, let's not lose faith in journalists. They're good people who need our trust. And like just before he said, Matt, if I were human and could grow hair on my head, I'd grow it like you. It's fantabulous. I'm like,
I'm ready to
Excuse
super
me?
Dildo. He's
I'm
great.
authentically uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, we don't.
He's
I'm
going-
sorry, we
running
don't
with this
need
gimmick.
dildos with hair. That's just bad.
That's
Never
true.
know
It's
what
not
people are
good.
into.
Oh yeah. What is this article? Red shirt. Where'd you find this?
I just did a search for reporter threatens Nicki Minaj's family and got that as one of the very first hits.
Okay. Let's take a look. So this is from revolt.tv, which I think is like a music used to be like a music magazine, right?
I mean, I haven't checked him out in forever, but used to be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So this says Nicki Minaj calls out reporter for harassing her family amid vaccine coof drama. Nicki posted screenshots of alleged text message between the reporter and her relative showing that the woman threatened to expose the person's location to CNN if they did not speak with her.
Whoa.
The drama surrounding Nicki Minaj's coof jab tweets continues. And now reporters are alleging harassing her family members. On Friday, the Moment for Life MC called out Charlene
Charlene Rampersad. That's a different spelling. A different person, I think.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's the multiples. I don't know.
I don't know. A reporter from Trinidad and Tobago, after she allegedly texted members of her family threatening them for interviews and Nicki Minaj's viral tweets. Leave my family alone, you fucking goof, she wrote the woman in a now deleted tweet. Deal with me. Y'all don't want me to say what I know. You can bully them, but deactivated when I got involved. Clown. I was done discussing this shit, Nicki wrote in a follow-up tweet. Why are they contacting my family? Control. Yo, base Nicki Minaj. I kept my mouth shut when the Trinidadian health official spoke on my name because I don't want to do this to them. What I know and can say is weighing very heavily on me. #Ballgate.
Whoa. What in the Illuminati is
Hold
Ballgate?
up. Look at that comment about I was invited to the White House. Dude, that sounds like she's about to get Epstein.
Where
Oh, shit. Really?
Well, look at you. I was invited to the White House to learn more, meaning we need to silence you. How much do we need to pay you to silence you, or else you're toast?
It says the White House denied it. She was
course
actually
they
offered
did.
a phone call with a doctor who could answer her questions, who could get her mind right, dude.
Oh, they want to
They were gonna hit
reprogram
that
her.
chip.
Wow, man. That's
This is
crazy.
wild.
They are like not okay with Nicki Minaj saying this shit.
Yeah,
This
well,
is not
she
how
has
it's
a
supposed to
large
go.
crowd, so then they
She's
see
a
it
huge
as
celebrity.
she can turn that crowd. She has potential to turn that crowd, or at least a chunk of it, around.
Whoa. After receiving major backlash from her tweets, the Seeing Green MC fans, also known as the Barbs, protested outside the CDC and prevention headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. The group chanted, "Nicki Minaj told me the truth. Fauci lied to me."
Whoa.
What is going
This is
on?
intense.
This is peak 2021.
Yep.
Here we are, guys.
See, God, they eat their own, right?
Now,
Yeah.
now
This wouldn't be a story.
let's
It's
just
one-
put this in perspective. This is Nicki Minaj taking on Anthony Fauci. I love this.
Oh, I know. I used to.
Right.
Get into the culture war and you don't even know.
I
it.
have watched that guy speak to Rand Paul. I've watched every single video, and watching that guy talk and dance around his words, and now it's funny because he used to be all super stoic, but now he's starting to slip now. Fauci's starting to slip. Now you see his perfections, like the cracks are starting to show.
Yeah.
The guy is an absolute fucking clown. And the minute I saw him, when he was talking to Rand Paul, and they were talking about how, well, you're talking about how going to baseball games is bad, getting married is bad. Well, then what about the protests? And Fauci's exact words were, "I don't see how that's relevant." And then he's like, "Oh, that's actually very relevant. You're saying 50 people together is bad, but thousands can go out in the streets and just do whatever they want." Like,
Of course.
this.
Essential Dildo.
This is the
Essential
same
Dildo
guy.
offers a counterpoint. He offers a counterpoint. He says, "Guys, why would Fauci lie?"
Listen, here's all I know:
Mistake.
Nicki
Thank you.
Minaj did not Epstein herself. So, like, if
Yeah,
something
you heard it
happens,
here. Nicki
we
Minaj
know what
did
happened.
Epstein her. Hey, Bruce Lombardo.
Hey,
What's
Bruce
up,
Lombardo.
dude? Of the Dix Division. Also,
Dix Division.
Bruce Lombardo. I mean, not Bruce Lombardo. Dr. Fauci. He was
Easy to confuse the two.
He
I
was.
understand.
I think he said something along the lines of, "If you shake your hands with a gay man, you may get AIDS from them," because he was speaking out against the gays in the '80s. So I would love to see the woke crowd defend him from that, but they don't know that. They don't
They don't
talk about
care.
it.
know it. Doesn't matter.
Fauci actually believed that AIDS was airborne in the 80s.
He sure did.
I mean, you want to talk about somebody who's gotten it
He's a
100%?
TV doctor.
Yeah, who's gotten it 100% wrong for 40 years. Anthony Fauci is in the dictionary.
That's probably
the
why
poster
they
child.
picked him. That's probably why he's the
Ugh.
guy.
Yeah.
Because he's, easily. You can
He will
control a
say
guy like that.
whatever they need him to say.
Anchorman.
Yeah.
Complete fucking Anchorman.
Yep.
That's some
Ron
wild
fucking
shit.
Burgundy.
That's
Oh,
some weird shit, man. I wonder where this Nicki Minaj thing is gonna go, because like
I hope it's not done.
they didn't get to her yet. Like she hasn't changed. She hasn't like released a statement. Like it seems like
I
she's
think
trying
she-
to avoid the topic, probably because a lot of people in her circle were like, "Stop, don't do this." But she hasn't backed off.
Here's-
She's still
You
going.
got no, and she needs it. You know why? You need someone who actually has everything to lose in order for this to make this like a battle worth fighting for. Because the people who have nothing to lose, they're gonna see it as exactly that. Well, I got nothing to lose, so there's no reason for me speaking out. It's those who have something to lose that need to say something, because they're the
100%.
ones. Once they're affected, they go down. They take everyone down the ship with them if they go down. So Nicki Minaj saying this is good.
I think it's great. I love her.
Oh,
I
it's
think it's
phenomenal.
awesome, and it's also just hilarious that like I never cared about anything Nicki Minaj said, and still like whatever her opinion on it is still doesn't matter to me. I don't really care, but it's the fact that she's standing up and also being like, "Yeah, wait, so I can't have a different opinion because I'm black? Like I have to just think whatever the Democrats tell me to think?" It's like, damn, girl, fucking get it. Like it's fucking cool to see that. And Bruce Lombardo. Hey, Comics is here. What's up, Comics?
What's up?
Oh
Yo,
shit!
Comics Division.
Comics
Hey, Comics up.
Division.
We are in your wheelhouse right now.
They're talking about the newest draftee in the culture war, Nicki Minaj. Though
Nicki
I
Minaj.
will,
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. But Bruce Lombardo says Monday we are getting a massive red pill from Project
Ooh.
Veritas about the jab. Very interesting. And he followed that up with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Division, for $10. Says Fauci has gotten it 100% wrong since he left college. He's the guy that said if you were smoking pole on a gay AIDS person, you'd be exhaling AIDS to the world around you. That was in his AIDS paper. I wonder if he worded it quite like that. That is some colorful language.
man.
Well, thank you very much, my friend. And this is
Thank you,
really
Bruce
wow.
Lombardo.
Hail.
And Kalen James, the guy who tossed us that tip, says that apparently there's a naval destroyer near Trinidad. So
Wow.
that's pretty wild. And I will say this: I said she's drafted into the culture war. I would, because I personally think she'll end up bending the knee. So just because you drafted someone in, I know you were talking about you need people who have something to lose, but that's the point. People who have something to lose tend to hold on to it. So if the heat gets too much, I can see her either just like deactivating social media until it dies down, or outright bending the knee. Unfortunately, even though this is interesting and fascinating.
I just feel like
Did she typically bend the knee?
I don't know. I haven't paid any attention to.
I mean, she's been the center of controversy before. It seems like she doesn't give much a fuck.
Yeah, that's true. But this is pretty intense.
I can see where you're coming from, Vidge, but it's just more of, I feel like if we're going to really get a change, I feel like that's how it's going to be the most effective, is where I'm going to get at. Because the people who have nothing to lose, they're going to see it as it's nothing to lose, so they're not going to speak because they just say as, well, I go down, no big deal. That's it. They just say as, I don't care. I don't care. I'm the only one affected. So that's how they're going to see it, is those with nothing to lose. Me, I'm saying things because I know who I affect when I lose if I see these things change and it takes over. So I need to speak and fight for those things. And I have everything to lose because of this.
Well, I think a lot of us have something to lose. That's kind of part of the reason I think we're fighting for it. But
yeah, Matt went off.
That was a long silence.
Yeah, right. That was really weird.
I've been talking over people the whole time. Like, all right, I'm not going to talk. Wait,
let's one of the other guys speak. I know. I'm sure maybe Thoth has something to pitch in on, or comics.
In regards to what, like in general, what, talk about Nicki Minaj or?
Yeah, well, you know what? We haven't actually heard from comics. What are your thoughts of the whole Nicki Minaj jab controversy?
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to really dig too deeply into it. So I kind of like know about what's going on tangentially. But I think that fact that everyone fucking turned on her was pretty telling, right? I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, God forbid you have a different opinion on something, the jab or whatnot, and that's the problem that we're facing right now, is that they only want to hear one side, and it's the right side of history. And I'm using air quotes you can't see.
Oh, I figured you were. I could hear it in the voice.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I think we're going to see a bigger push from the media, because they've already started doing it, saying you don't need to hear the other side. Right. You know, you don't need to hear from that flat earther. Well, the issue with that is there's a reason why they're doing it, because they want a single narrative. They're trying to be the single source of truth.
Yep.
And the keeper of the word, so to speak.
100%.
So anything that is contrary to that needs to be silenced and needs to be, banned off of YouTube or just removed from the public discourse, essentially.
Well, you saw that as soon as Nicki Minaj tweeted out that thing with Tucker Carlson or whatever, when he was talking about her, they all but said she was a white nationalist.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot she tweeted out Tucker, and that's where they basically turned on her. I think they did call her a white nationalist.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, it was trending on Twitter.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you the lengths that these people will go to. I mean, God forbid she tweet out Tucker Carlson, because you can agree with people on the other side of the aisle. I mean, it's fine, but they don't like that. Yeah, it's like I hate Bill Maher. I can't stand the dude. I find him to be a pompous prick.
So annoying. I agree.
But, oh my God, he nails it on occasion, and when he does,
sometimes he really gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, he sometimes he does.
Lately, he's making weird sense. It's really weird.
I know. It's uncomfortable.
It's really weird. Yeah, it kind of is.
Well, I think, believe it or not, I think Bill Maher actually does love this country. I think he does care. He's a pompous asshole and a prick, but I think he actually legitimately cares about this country.
And he is a comedian, and comedians are natural contrarians. So I think like a lot of those political guys, like Maher, Jon Stewart, Colbert, they were doing.
Even Jon Stewart, I think, which is funny because he went on Colbert, and Colbert was flipping out for some of the shit he was saying.
Right. That's right. I remember that. But they were needed, I think, at a time, especially under the Bush administration, and when
they've been needed all throughout time. I mean, look what was going on in the 60s. With fucking what's his name? Totally
LBJ.
No. The comedian that got arrested all the time.
Lenny Bruce.
Lenny Bruce. Thank you. Lenny Bruce. Huge lefty, but he pushed the boundary, and I mean he pushed the boundaries of free speech from that time period, and free speech is very important, and it's something that has not always been the way it has been, right? I mean, it's been what we are used to now wasn't always in place because there was obscenity laws, and thankfully those have been removed. And now we're getting to the point where they're trying to reintroduce obscenity laws to a degree through, being PC and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a different enemy, and it's like it was like I said, like when those guys under the Bush administration, we did need that. Like there wasn't a lot of contrary, conversation, and it used to be like the cancel culture came from the right. It was these Christian organizations go after like people who were vulgar and 90s. Stuff like that. And so
you had the PMRC, which came from the left, and that was they were the ones that were going after music, and that was Tipper Gore's thing.
Yeah, the filthy 15.
But the 80s, man, it was all about the religious right going after Ozzy Osbourne, Dungeons and Dragons, the Smurfs of all things.
Smurfs.
Always.
Yeah.
The Smurfs?
Because it's just anything that was involved with magic to be Satanism.
Yeah,
it's the reason why they went after Dungeons and Dragons.
You know what? I'm with them. It's all of Satan.
The funny thing too is like you're saying, those spells in the D&D books are real. It's like, no, they're not.
I think Satan is a ginger, isn't he?
There we go. Finally.
Now we know why Hollywood is doing the ginger side out there, right?
The funny thing is, like, if you compared what Jack Thompson said with what Anita Sarkeesian said, they're basically saying the same thing, but from different sides of the aisle. Exactly. Jack Thompson was saying violent video games are bad because it would encourage mass shootings. Anita Sarkeesian is saying, violent video games are bad because they, it's racist, sexist, misogynistic.
Well,
they're making the same arguments using different arguments.
I'm a fan of violent video games because as a law enforcement officer, I'd rather those people be in their basements shooting on a TV screen than out there actually doing it.
I thought this was going to go in a different direction, though.
That a lot of people don't understand.
As a law enforcement officer, I really want to shoot a lot of motherfuckers. So I got to play GTA to get the shit out. That's
Hell
yeah! The actual benefit of violent video games, it's an outlet for things.
Exactly,
yes. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't get. They're saying, "Oh, it's bad. It leads to mass shootings." Like, no, it doesn't. It actually reduces mass shootings and violence and all of these different things because people have an outlet for their rage, and they walk away not angry and not wanting to take that shit out on their fellow man.
And which is why I've also been a proponent of legalizing and decriminalizing marijuana, because I would much rather deal with someone who's stoned on marijuana. Not the hard stuff. I'm talking just marijuana, especially for medical conditions, because they're all like, "Oh, dude, it's the popo. Hey, take me away, man. Throw the handcuffs on." Versus alcohol, which it's a throwdown every single time I have to arrest someone who's been drinking.
It is. Yeah,
and that's what causes domestic abuse. That's what causes so many problems in our society is alcohol. Now, a controlled consumption is fine, unlike the group here on the panel, because I am sure a lot of us are not controlled consumption. But that's why I think that a little bit of outlets, when it's shoot 'em up, or if you're going to do GTA, you're going to do GTA. You're going to do that. That's going to deal with the issues that you have internally and have some fun. It's the same thing as that marijuana, alcohol abuse, that kind of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of things that's kind of an interesting microcosm of what's going on in society too. And I think what you're saying,
I used to make a joke about how the world would be a less angry place if everyone just jerked off every day.
Yeah. Thoth, I just want to say, Lord Thoth, I just want to say, hail, Lord Thoth. Way to subvert expectations.
I know, right?
Hail
to Lord Thoth.
I've been learning from the best.
I will say this. Your weed impersonation was off because what you try to do is act as sober as possible. You failed miserably, but you just say, "Hi, officer. How are you doing?" Because
Yeah.
you're sober.
Right, exactly.
I'm the soberest
Yes.
man that's ever
Be like a
sober.
normal person.
They're
Yeah,
they're the funniest people to do the screening too when you're there and they're saying I'm sober, officer, like, and then you do the field sobriety tests and they think that they're walking a straight line,
Yeah.
but they're doing this zigzag that's like a
Why am I
kilometer.
doing the moonwalk?
Yeah, right.
And they'll stare at
It's
you
the best thing
confidently,
ever.
like they did it right. Like, yeah, we're good, right, officer? Sober, right? Yes. Go back in car. No.
To Thought's point, my favorite comedian who used to imitate being drunk was Foster Brooks. And Foster Brooks was a teetotaler. He never touched alcohol. He learned to imitate a drunk person by watching people at parties. And he would be talking like this, and he'd be trying very hard to keep his voice normal, but it wouldn't work.
Right, sure.
And he used to be on the roast, and oh my god, he would just him telling a joke is fucking hysterical.
In red shirt?
You can't tell it. Yeah.
How's Jake D's throne? Do you like it?
Oh yeah, this is a very nice setup here. I got my laptop just sitting off to the side because he's got a 3-sided desk and there's about 3 square feet that's unoccupied. That's where my laptop
He has
is.
a triangle desk.
He has 3-sided. It's a U-shaped desk.
Ah, the 3-siders. I like those.
So he's got a computer. He's got a laptop and 2 monitor setups on one side, and he's got a desktop and two larger monitors on the other side. And I'm like, yeah, and he's got the mic stand and everything. And I'm like, he's like, you could have used that to go on the stream. I'm like, this is not the time to be learning to work with a webcam, separate webcam, a boom microphone.
So red shirt, this is a video. I guess it was the first thing that came up on YouTube when I put in Dean Foster Brooks being drunk.
Yeah.
Excuse me, have you ever been in Schenectady?
Oh, I never was in Schenectady.
Neither was I. Must have been a couple other guys. But I still have a feeling I've seen your face someplace else.
He does
No, it's
does
always
pretty
been
well.
right here.
That's like my Friday and Saturday nights on detachment right there.
Well, no, I've never been on television. Say, is it all right? Well, if
funny.
I join you, I just stopped in for a little drink to settle my nerves before I go to work.
What sort of work do you do?
I'm an airline pilot.
That was very funny. That's very good. Have you ever seen Chris D'Elia's Drunk Girl?
Dean Martin is just hilarious in that. He's a straight man.
He is.
Chris D'Elia's Drunk Girl is an incredible. It's like he kind of like I saw him do it live, and he kind of leans into it like a little too much, but it's so funny. Like it's spot on. I'm like, oh my god, like fucking nailed it.
Get drunk, man. They don't even know what they're talking about. They think they do. Hey, guess what? You didn't even know. You know what it isn't?
Canceled.
See? know
He
what
was
it
canceled.
isn't?
He was.
Yeah.
Was he? For what?
You know what's saying in there?
Apparently,
Me too.
Well, yeah, he had texts of talking to an underage girl, and they like, but it was they misrepresented.
Oh, I remember
it
this.
entirely.
Yeah.
He like
as soon as he found out, he's cuck mode. Whoa.
But it
Poor
was
Dano.
essentially like as soon as he found out she was underage, he's like, oh, okay, no, never mind. Like I'm not interested. But they left that part out.
Mhm.
And like they tried to make it seem like he's this predator. It's like actually he seemed like a pretty decent guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I swear to God, I've had that same conversation with the
I bet you have.
Well, I hate
Oh,
cars.
Lord, that is
I remember
integral.
those conversations, like some super drunk dot just like not making any sense. It's just like I don't even care. But
Yep, you have whole conversations all the way back to cells.
It's like
I'm
the
on
conversation
pill.
doesn't
I gotta go.
make much sense up to the point where she's like, "You want to see my tits?"
But no, they never said that to me. They were always trying to talk
No.
philosophical to me.
Yeah, they never
I'm
even said it to me.
high,
They just showed
and
them
I'm
to
trying
me.
to fuck somebody. You're not trying to fuck.
Yeah,
You're
it's
trying
called
to
show
big
us, don't tell
astrophysics.
us.
Show and
drunk
tell.
people who don't listen is just so annoying, and drunk girls doubly so. And they're just like going after you, and they're just so No, like hear me listen. He's like, I don't want to let go.
You're trying to walk away, they'll follow you. Like no.
So cold
shut
era
up.
pants are actually optional right now. Just saying.
We're on live streaming,
All streams.
rocking out with our cocks out. Obviously.
Speaking
no,
of cocks
sit your
out,
dildo's back.
is he
Damn
back?
it.
Did he fix? Okay, he fixed himself.
That's a
Okay.
disappointment.
Well, before we get to that, Man of War 665 Never the Beast
Hell.
tipped me, and I missed it.
Hey, Man of
thank
War,
you,
what's
sir.
up, dude?
Hello, Man of War.
I'm sorry, the Islington girl. You can't plead the fifth. Aren't you Canadian?
Man of War 665 Neighbor of the Beast for $6.65. Very on brand. Thank you very much. He says, I'm not entirely sure what he's talking about, but he says, I was content to let dog shit lie where it fell. Then I saw Rogers the musical. I now see why the dildo fell off the deep end. And don't give me that comic book Easter egg bullshit. What is Rogers the musical?
He's having a drunk conversation already.
I was
Apparently.
gonna say, Man of War, you alive there, ma'am? That sounds like I don't know. I just don't
Does
know.
anyone know what that is? Rogers the
I'm
musical?
clueless.
No idea.
Something comes up when I Google it. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! This isn't good. This is it's a TikTok
no.
video.
Oh,
TikTok.
Oh,
It's got the Captain America shield.
You had me at the China TikTok.
Oh no!
Is it going to be
All right.
erotic piano playing?
Probably.
I think it's going to be like Captain America bullshit. Oh no! Let's see. What is this?
Oh God, no! It's from
It's the Avengers.
The first one.
Yeah,
It's from
it's from-
Hawkeye.
Oh,
They had Avengers the musical or some shit, or Captain Rogers the
Oh,
musical.
yeah.
Yeah,
right.
that's what it's supposed to be.
I
But
completely
Kid
forgot about
from
that.
Brooklyn on your left when you run. I can do this all day until the end of the
Oh
line.
no!
As Avengers
Oh, that-
assemble.
voice is terrifying. And I listen to Morbid Angel. His
Behind
voice
this
is terrifying.
fine ass of mine.
Oh my god! Wow.
That's Canada's ass. I mean, America's ass.
Okay. Thanks
know,
for that.
I
Man of War.
prefer when Captain America throws his mighty shield. That's a
I
better
do
song.
too.
No, there's
So
one
much
thing that
better.
we brought up tonight is like we saw all the Avengers topless with the exception of Black Widow.
I thought that was very funny.
That's
I've seen her
point.
topless lots of times.
Not in the Avengers movies.
That's true.
But if you Google it, it comes up.
Yes, we've seen Full Frontal with her and Harley Quinn.
Yeah, we did in that terrible movie. What was that movie? Under the Skin.
Oh, you mean ScarJo? Yeah. I've never actually
Shit.
seen it, but I've seen the pictures.
It's horrible. It's
Matt actually watched. Hold on, you watched that movie? I don't.
yeah,
I haven't
it's
seen
trying
it.
to be Kubrick. It's trying really hard. It has like these long shots that are just nothing's happening, but they're like a minute and a half long, and it's just like someone walking. But it's like that's how Kubrick did it. It was like you fucking asshole. Kubrick's shots were like they were paintings. They were masterpieces of framing and lighting, and they were incredibly compelling to look at. You're just holding the camera on that for like 10 minutes. Oh. So pretentious. It's about this alien that comes to like Earth and like what she would like seduce like men, like unsuspecting men, and then like consume their flesh, like would just eat them slowly, and they would like, but like it was very artistic the way they depicted it. Like they would just show flashes of this skin suit like in some kind of liquid. It was trash. It's a terrible movie. Even Scarlett Johansson being naked in it is not worth you seeing that movie. That's how bad it is.
Do you care to object, Thoth?
No, he's right.
No, man. That's like a lot when Thoth won't even object.
Oh, isn't some girl liked it? I thought it was awful.
And
but-
ScarJo is one
Fair
of
enough.
my get out of jail free cards from my wife. So yeah, absolutely.
You're too much of a toxic male to get it, Matt. No, I never saw that. I never saw it. Just kidding.
Personally, if I had to take my pick, I think I'd go with Margot Robbie. I think she's.
Oh,
hotter than ScarJo.
absolutely. Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I would go ScarJo. ScarJo's thicker. Margot Robbie's pretty skinny.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I just settle for both.
I mean, child support is pretty good.
It's a coin flip. I would,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with
You
Linda
can't
Carter.
lose.
It used to be Jessica Alba, but she got a little old.
Yeah, it happens.
I
ScarJo's
trade them
getting
out like
old.
like you're fucking DiCaprio, man.
I know.
You gotta
Those guys
switch them
are
out.
incredible.
They're like
He's
a
an
leased
animal.
car.
Dude, he really is. Really is. Like once that lease is up, moves on.
I'm sorry to hard change the subject. I was thinking about the DiCaprio thing because he was fucking the AT&T girl before any of us knew who she was.
That's
Are you
the
serious?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking one with the big chesticles.
Yeah, the
Whatever-
one
what's
that
her
was supposed to
name?
play Squirrel Girl, but they
Yeah.
canceled that. Yeah, her.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
fucking her in the 2000s. I'm like, I didn't even know who she was then. In the
Yep.
like early mid.
No one did. Oof. He's insane.
He's got great taste.
He sure
How
does.
he do it?
He's DiCaprio.
He's
That's
he's
like-
rich.
Dude, he was in
It's what happens
Titanic.
And he's
when you're
handsome.
famous,
Not that
man.
he's
Man.
he's a movie star. He's the
He
biggest
was in
movie star of all
Titanic,
time.
the biggest movie of all
Yeah,
time.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is this
He
that
got her
D-
in her
D girl?
youthful prime.
She's so
She was
ridiculously thick.
presumably hotter than this.
Right? I mean,
45G.
lucky
Jesus.
bastard. Yeah. Hey, it's DiCaprio, man. He owns a room.
Look at that
I was
shit.
at like multiple events where DiCaprio was there, and he like even celebrities are like, whoa, you know, like he's the man. He's the fucking man. Everywhere he goes,
Yeah.
people worship that guy. I don't blame him too. Who doesn't like DiCaprio? He's cool.
He's
as fuck.
talented. I mean, Catch Me When You Can is a good movie.
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
glad
great
you was the
movie.
person you went with.
He's been in so
The
many good
Departed's
stuff.
great.
The
Yeah,
Aviator.
Departed's good. Yeah. So
Inception. Even though
I
know that
just
Matt was
really
gonna-
hate that
I
Jack
knew
and
I knew
Rose
Matt was going to
movie.
say something about saying Inception.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to back Matt on that one. Inception is just it's something to look at, but story wise,
Listen,
It's dull. Nolan sucks.
okay. This is a Nolan thing because Nolan's stories
exactly.
is like listen, Nolan. I don't know. Nolan is almost drunk girl. Where you're like, what are you really talking about? I love him, but like, what are you really doing? Oh, it's about love. So I've been watching 2.5 hours because of love. Thank you, Nolan.
And he
I
just keeps
appreciate
throwing
that.
things at you to distract you, and you're like, I think this is entertaining, and then like
I
you
think
think
this
about
is
it,
deep
you're
and
like,
emotional. You got Hans Zimmer
You just don't
score,
understand Nolan. You're
crazy
not smart enough to
scenes,
understand.
smart
what
enough.
they're visual. And you're like,
As-
what are you talking about?
Nolan stories
Hello, Lindsay.
as his
Nolan's-
movies were getting more bigger, more famous. His stories were getting larger in scale, and as he grew larger in scale, he lost his sense of story along the way.
I've never
And-
liked them. I don't even like
Oh.
Memento.
Oh, see, I don't mean
wow.
Memento. I like
really
Memento.
I like Nolan. There's certain Nolan films I really like, and there's others I don't. Like The Prestige
That's
is
why I
a great
have to-
movie.
Prestige is good. I
No,
do need
it's
some
not.
Prestige.
It's fine,
Oh.
but it does like it just suddenly introduces this sci-fi element with no explanation. You're like, so you can just replicate people?
Sci-fi.
Where,
It's
where did
magic.
that come from?
It's magic.
It was a good movie until
Okay,
about
but
the
it-
last 25
What
minutes.
was that
and I went,
about?
"Wait,
Like, how
what?"
did that happen? And they're just like, it happened. You're like, what do you mean it just happened? Because Tesla? What are you talking about? Like, you can't just like change genres like 2/3 through your film and be like, isn't that crazy? It's like if you justified it, maybe, but that was just out of nowhere. You just made that up. Like, what?
Nolan doesn't
That's
explain
not how
it.
electricity works.
Well, I mean, part of it
Electricity
is
doesn't just
with the
duplicate
narration is that you have like stage magic, and then the whole idea is that Tesla was supposed to be a true magician. It wasn't supposed to be science. It was
He's a
supposed to be more along the lines of magic.
I guess it's just I just felt like they didn't justify it. I felt like if they had introduced like something like that in the beginning, like some kind of like way like that the genre would be.
Well, they kind of did
consistent.
with the hats, man. I mean,
The
that was
hats?
the whole thing with the replicated hats. Like that.
Well,
was
let's
the
admit
very
it.
beginning of
Let's
film.
admit it. That movie would be an Academy Award-winning movie today because the
Oh.
movies from the last
Wow.
5 years
That's
have been awful.
tragic.
Too many
Ain't
white
true.
men, though. Too many white men.
Oh,
Literally.
Yeah,
yeah.
it wouldn't pass the diversity checkbox.
Yeah,
test.
that's true. Now that
Exactly.
they wouldn't pass that list, dude. They're doing that list for everything and anything. Like nowadays, you can look at like even with like the New York Times, shockingly New York Times, look at the best-selling book list. Like the list isn't even because they're supposed to be by all books, but now it's about whatever books pass the boxes. And a lot of the books that I guess you could say check the boxes don't even sell that well. So now you have to go out of your way to look for the other books that are not included and see that those are, selling drastically larger sales numbers than the books that they include on their list. So they're giving you factually incorrect information, and you have to actually dig for the correct information. Like, it's insane that they're willing to put on this facade that look how well this book is doing. It's number one, when your number one's really only selling 6,000, whereas someone else could be doing 20, 30, 50,000, but you're not including them because they don't do what you want them to do.
Oh God, you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
And this is something that Justin Normie sent me, but I was also tagged in it on Twitter. So apparently, if you guys know who Kelly Sue DeConnick is,
you just missed it. We talked about it.
Oh, you guys talked about it? Okay.
Let's hear if you got any input, you should add to it.
Oh, I do have input. Well, because it's funny because like a couple of years ago, she did this interview with Sci-Fi, and she's like, the arrogant little bitch that she is, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. And so people didn't go and buy her book. And now she's like, yeah, I'm really concerned about the comic book industry because everything's down. It's like, gee, I wonder fucking why.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
Sales are doing so terrible right now. Could it be the fact that, well, you comic book creators are a bunch of pretentious twats? That probably
you've alienated your entire audience.
You alienated your audience. You wrote shitty stories. You acted like a bunch of bitches to the people that consumed your product, and now your industry is basically falling apart. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of hopeful. I'm hopeful for the industry, even though it's fucking falling apart." Yeah.
Well, do you think she's unhappy because she's realized she's part of the problem, or she's unhappy
I'm pretty
because
sure she doesn't realize? I'm sure she doesn't have a fucking clue.
That's what I thought.
I don't think she gets it.
Why comic book industry falling apart? I guess people just aren't interested in comic books anymore. I mean,
even after they got rid of Trump, I mean, how did everything just not fall into place?
Well, we got rid of the Orange Man, and we thought the comic book industry would improve, and it didn't.
When you alienate 95% of your audience, they just walked away. There was no verbalization,
it's not
no
her
social
fault
media,
per se. She contributed to it.
Man, that's
no, she was not a cause. She was a symptom.
She was a symptom.
True.
Much like Mark Waid, much like Dan Slott, much like Gail Simone. The Coof was the giant accelerator.
It was the accelerator.
Heart attacks are a
already
symptom
the
too,
bonfire
guys.
of the comic book industry.
Yes. She's a heart attack, that's for sure.
She's a heart attack. Like, that statement had to cost them millions of dollars. Like the comic industry as a whole. That statement was like because it wasn't just her.
They agreed with her.
That's my point. That statement was like a rallying cry.
She's not the only person who said that. There's plenty of pros out there that basically said, "I don't want you buying my book. This book is not for you."
Yeah, comics. You mentioned that. Oh, go ahead, Vidge.
I was going to say, because you mentioned the Orange Man. That's what normalized that. Because once the Orange Man existed and people support the Orange Man, oh my God, these deplorables. I don't want these deplorables buying our comics.
Right.
And that normalized it. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I think most deplorables wouldn't buy her fucking comics. I mean, she wrote the comic series Bitch Planet after all, which would.
Yep.
Yeah, if you know anything about that series, it's like, I'm not fucking around.
Dude, that brings to mind Chelsea Kane's nasty book as well.
Oh, man, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, it was someone that should have been tossed out of the comic book industry. She was a terrible person. She tried to, I don't know if she tried to Me Too. I don't remember what Chelsea Kane tried to do, but she basically was talking about how horrible the industry was and how poorly she was treated by Marvel.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's the reason why they basically fucking gave her the boot, because
I'm sorry,
they put up with shit.
But artists and writers of comic books have been treated like crap for 80 years.
Yeah.
It's not just because you're a white woman. That's not the reason you got treated like crap.
I'm a white woman and I'm being mistreated and I'm the most important thing on the fucking planet. You need to pay attention to me and listen to me.
Fucking white women.
Never mind all these people who are actually suffering. I'm the actual victim here.
Yep. Thanks, Karen.
Hey,
all these comic writers that didn't get credit for their characters until like years after they died, and they're like, "Oh, this is all about me."
Dude, fucking Ditko and all those guys got fucking shit on.
Right. Larry Lieber as well, Gene Tolan. Oh yeah,
fucking the guy who created Wolverine died of cancer and poverty.
Len Wein. Len Wein.
Len Wein, yeah, he basically died in poverty.
No, it's insane. I was mentioning earlier other people who are giant symptoms of the problem. This
Even
is
Bill Finger Pettis.
the editors, a lot of the editors like Heather Antos, because at the end of the day, there's obviously a process of when these books are written, drawn, inked, if they actually do those for certain books, and then they do the colorists. And you have someone who looks over for continuity purposes or even for spell checking. And you have people like Heather Antos who she was at Marvel, and she probably just said everything is fine. Didn't probably look at it. She probably was looking at
for so many spelling errors getting through. And
She
real quick,
was.
I gotta address Cynthia Dildo. Cynthia Dildo, I would sincerely apologize, but I'm not going to.
Sorry, not
wrong
sorry.
with Sentient Dildo.
Yeah,
Sentient
he's
Dildo's
been
been
malfunctioning.
hijacked.
not
I
even
know.
sorry, not sorry,
See,
just absolutely
Comics
not
is not
sorry at all.
Canadian. He's
I
not
just
going to
trolling
apologize.
back is all I'm doing.
Oh, we know.
If he was Canadian, he might apologize, but sorry, man.
No, it's fine. I just want to say, I want to highlight something Lindsay, the cynical geek, said.
What's up, Lindsay?
She says, good riddance to bad rubbish. I've been saying karma will come for these psychos. And you're right. And it has. However,
Absolutely.
Took
however,
a while, but it feels
well,
good.
The thing is, but they've brought down so much with them.
It's
Oh,
been
yeah.
scorched earth for a long
That's the
time now.
problem.
It's
The
been
problem is
scorched earth.
It just doesn't look like they're going to be replaced with someone competent or someone who wants to tell stories. It just won't be it anymore. And that's
Right.
why it sucks.
Yep.
And that's why it's like Star Wars sucks. And that's why it's like, it's just you destroyed the thing. Yeah, you're gone. And so is the thing. And great. Like, it's you know what I mean? It's just, it was like a parasite and it killed the host. And then that's it. And we're all have to suffer. And that's the problem.
So my question to everybody in the panel here is, are we actually going to see the golden age come back again? Are we going to see a return
No,
to
I
the
don't
way
think we
things
are.
were in
Maybe.
the 70s and the 80s?
Don't bet on a return to any kind of normalcy with anything at this point in time.
Well,
Oh,
the
man,
the re-
I don't see it happening. I wish, but I'm not betting on it.
Yeah.
The thing
I
is,
have-
The
a
only
lot of
thing
these
you're gonna
guys
see
are
is
still
independent books are
employed.
going to be a lot, but you're going to see more independent creators, kickstarting books. That's kind of the way of the future with the comic book industry at this
Yeah.
point. The big two are dying a very slow death. I give them 5 years tops.
Oh, wow. You're
Ooh.
optimistic.
yeah, 5
Yeah,
years
you're
tops. No,
optimistic.
Tops.
He called comics optimistic.
that is
I-
optimistic.
I
It was-
think
no,
I-
DC
Dude,
was
it's
going to
been-
get
it's been
canceled this
dying a
year.
slow fucking death, like for the last how long have I had a channel? What, 4 years at this point? Yeah, it wasn't made for you bigots.
I think companies, obviously Marvel and DC go down, but I think companies
So
like
sad.
Boom and
I
Image
think-
and Dark Horse, they'll live on. I truly believe they'll live on. They operate on different standards compared to Marvel and DC, so they'll be fine. Obviously, some of them will go. Probably like IDW will go once the last Ronin is done. IDW is next. If not them, Valiant is
I
next.
honestly think is probably going to be the first one to go.
Yeah,
Because
that
they
and then
have
Valiant.
properties of their own.
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see over the next 5 years, and like I said, I'm just throwing 5 years out because I want to be generous. You're going to start seeing them farming out their IPs to other people or to other companies, and the reason why is because they fucking can't make a book to sell at the moment.
I honestly think with DC and Marvel going down, which is going to happen in 2 to 3 years,
I think DC will go down before Marvel. at this
Yeah, I
point.
agree. Because Marvel is still. I don't want to use the word strong, but they still
have
have
the movies
some.
to
No,
fall
it's the
back
movies.
on.
Okay,
Yeah,
the reason
that's
why
exactly it.
the
They have
reason
the
why Disney
properties
will
and the
keep
money
Marvel
coming in.
around
Marvel
is because
Studios.
is to farm the IP.
Of course.
But I think that what's going to happen is if DC, no, not if, when DC and Marvel go down, the rest of the comic industry is done. I don't think the independent comic. You have the whole infrastructure, the comic book infrastructure right now. That when you have the two big two, you have DC and Marvel. They're starting to go down now. We saw what happened with Diamond. We saw what happened with the industry. When they're gone,
the reason
the
why
rest of the
DC and
industry
Marvel
is gonna
don't use
collapse.
Diamond anymore is because they know it's
It's done.
basically.
Yep.
Yeah, was it 2 months and Diamond was already we're getting a bunch of fucking loans to stay in business.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Our credit's great, so don't
Our
worry.
credit's great. We have all this money we're borrowing.
And that is a prime example of what's going on in the entertainment industry. I think that the comic book industry is that the macro level of what's going on in entertainment, and the micro level is movies and television, and what we're seeing with the big companies now, but Paramount is not going to put out movies anymore. So you're going to have
2
those
years, man. 2
and
years.
those
No
big
more.
companies now are realizing, well, it's all on streaming. Well, what happens? Is this going to be another blockbuster incident where we're going to see 5 years from now or 10 years from now where streaming isn't the way to do it anymore either? I think people are going to miss going to the theater and seeing it.
I think the thing that's going to be interesting, and one thing to clarify your point, Lorthoth, is they're not going to stop making movies. They're just not going to release them in the theaters.
Yeah, I think theaters
that's what I meant. Yeah, tentpole movies in theaters. Exactly. Yes.
Well, I think it's pretty much fucking dead, man. I mean, it really is. If you think about it,
it's an archaic. It's honestly an archaic infrastructure.
Well,
like, I have
it's
nothing
not.
against
It's
theaters,
not just the
but-
fact that it's archaic. The coof really did kill it. I mean, people are going to concerts. They're going to to other venues, but they're not going to fucking movies. And
there's a reason because the movies are out.
Slowly dying for years, and COVID just made it basically sped it up.
It's just different though. Like a theater is not the same. Like it's a big screen with speakers. Like you can have most of that at your house. Like you can't have a live performance at your house. It's cheaper. It's easier.
The experience is different though.
It is different. I went to the movie theater a handful of times this year, and I love the experience. I love the silver screen. I love the popcorn. I love the seating. I'm a big fan of my extra butter popcorn. Obviously, I know I can do all those things at home. I love the energy, the vibe is in there, especially if it's like a mid-sized audience to full. There's an anticipation there. Especially if it's like an opening night showing. You're not just there with the normies. You're there with people who came there that opening night because they are big on whatever said IP is going on. So you're there with the people who know the product from the inside and out. So I feel that energy and get a different perception of things from that. That's what I see out of it theatrically. I mean, could it evolve maybe towards like more of a niche thing, maybe like the way vinyl is? Maybe. I don't know.
That's a good point.
I think it's niche.
Well, it may become niche. That may happen. I don't think
I'm good with that. I'm very good with that. As long as they survive off of it.
Says it like there is something to the theater experience. It's ancient. It's something that we've now done on some level for like thousands of years. So I think there is something about that communal experience of watching a performance, even if it's a recorded one, obviously with a movie. There's something about that I think people still want to do. Now, would they want to do it to the same clip that they did a few years ago? Probably not. I think a lot of people have gotten out of the habit.
The thing is, you'll probably keep the things. You'll probably keep like the Alamo Draft House, like the ones that are like a full-on experience, and they like, they put your phones in bags and you can't use them, like that whole thing where they really make you watch the movie. But the thing about that is, if there isn't a large like financial incentive for studios to put out movies, like it's just going to be a niche thing. They're not going to do it. Like they're not going to.
I agree with
There's
that.
so much infrastructure.
I think you're going to see.
It'll be more streaming.
One of the things that we talked about tonight on F&T was the kind of the rise of independent filmmakers, and I think you're going to see more of that. You're going to see the death of Hollywood. Film is something that I think people are going to continue to want to see, and you're going to see, I think, more independents coming. More independent films, and smaller budget films. We're not going to have the big spectacle like we're used to, and quite frankly, I'm kind of glad because I'm tired of spectacle. That's like my biggest complaint with movies or anything entertainment is like the overdone spectacle.
Yep,
overdone CG.
There's nothing wrong with CG and using it and blending it with practical things. Like you can do a lot better things.
Tune out.
Well, no, I'm talking about
you just see this computer. You're like,
like the Expanse. Okay, Expanse is a good example where CG is appropriate, like with the ships and whatnot.
Which costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it does. But
if I can
but like Comics' point though is the sets on the Expanse are incredible.
Yes.
Like the internal sets are great. It's not CG. They're all practical and they have this tactile
Nothing
feeling.
is real in the fucking Marvel movies.
Nothing.
It's all fucking
it's one big green screen
nonsense.
And the weird thing is like they had a great lesson with that with the prequels, like the prequel trilogy of Star Wars. Like people were really turned off by the constant CG, everything being CG, all this sets.
Yeah, they basically shot everything on a fucking green screen.
And it's just stale. Like even though like it's like it's photorealistic, it's still there's still something off about it. Like it's almost like too real. Like you can't capture real life, at least not yet. And it's like it takes you out of it. You just kind of find it
I'll
uninteresting.
be honest with you. Some of the best CG actually came out of the movie District 9.
Oh, that movie rules.
I think Thoughts had something you wanted to add to that.
I appreciate that everybody has a lot to say, so I didn't want to interrupt everybody's great thoughts.
No, we're having a good conversation here.
Thanks,
Let's keep
Flavor
it
Flavs. I
going.
appreciate that. I just wanted to say that I think what they tried to do in recent history was to go to a more intimate theater experience, which was the VIP theater, right? The problem I have is there's a couple of things. I liked going because, one, you sit at your chair, you sit at your seat. It's very intimate. There's only like 20 people in the theater, 30 people in the theater, no kids. It's 18 and over. There's alcohol served. They come to your seat. You order what you want for dinner and stuff. And it's a very much a date night kind of thing. And I think that was a very interesting direction to go. Problem: it costs a fortune. And when things are getting a little bit expensive for people out there, especially with the coof and what's going on, right? And people are losing their jobs. People are the whole experience is becoming more homeward bound because we're being stuck at home. So that's why streaming is kind of taken off. And if you're going to charge a reasonable amount to stay at home, that's fine. But personally, I like the social experience. I like going out, being there with a group of people, seeing their laughter, seeing their tears, being a part of that. It's that whole environment that we're going to be missing if we lose theaters.
Yeah,
that's why
true.
concerts.
But you bring up a good point though with the cost, because it's like one ticket is like your month's Netflix.
It's like $50.
Yeah, and one ticket is also a Netflix sale for a month.
Than a ticket, pretty
yeah,
much.
that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
and when you're talking the reason why concerts and the reason why all these big events, sporting events and stuff are huge, and why people are going to it. One, it's relatively inexpensive. Like, I mean, you can get nosebleeds for like $10 or something, whatever you're going to go to,
40.
whatever event.
But yeah,
40 or whatever. And but it's
Come
also
on. People pay good money to see the Cubs lose. Granted, half of them are tourists who don't even watch the game anyway.
Does
but trust
anybody
me,
go to Cubs games? But
they do.
If you're going to go to see the Eagles, or you're going to go to see Metallica or whoever you're going to go see in concert, that is a completely different experience than going and seeing a CGI character beat up another CGI character on a theater. I want like what you said, comics is outstanding, because that's the old school way of doing things. I want to see the old martial arts movies where they're fighting in person. I want to see the old models where you used to have TIE fighters coming out of the darkness and firing at the Millennium Falcon, which was actual real models. And everything was about acting and about the story and about being in that interactive environment. And that's what we have to go towards today. You have to have a more virtual environmental experience where things are realistic.
That's
and
like
what we're getting right now from the Marvel movies is not that.
Yeah, one of my biggest complaints about Black Panther is the CG. The CG in the movie,
especially in Act 3,
that CG looked terrible.
And the fight scene between Killmonger and Black Panther was awful. It's like that
terrible.
That CGI fight. I mean, it wasn't any of those actors. It was all done CG, and it just looked bad.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awful, and I don't even hate the movie at all. Like I
don't hate the movie. I rather enjoy the
movie.
Yes, you
do.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Like maybe like 7.2 or 3 out of 10. It's a watchable movie.
The movie is overhyped and overpraised. That's the biggest issue with the movie. Besides the CG, I thought it was a fine movie.
I feel like if you had a better Act 3 with the CG, I feel like I could have had maybe 7.5, 7.8 even. But yeah, that it killed it for me watching that fight in the theater, because I was there opening night in the theater, and unlike Captain Marvel, which is very questionable on if they drew people to their seats, I can say for sure Black Panther opening night, those theaters were packed to the gill.
Yeah,
every screening sold the hell out. It was a phenomenon. Now, once again, where you like the movie, neither here nor there. It's a fact. Black Panther sold, and that's just how the cookie crumbles.
But the other thing too, I mean, when it goes to Marvel films, specifically with the black lead, the Blade movies, in my opinion, were actually better.
Oh, dude, come on!
The Blade
of course
movies
it was
saved
better.
comic book movies. Like
the Blade movies were fantastic.
All right, VW.
They were.
I'm glad comics mentioned because I got to ask VW. Do you remember there's an article? I think you may cover it. It's either you or Ripa or just some guy.
I love that I'm getting confused with Ripper and just some guy. It may be for racist reasons.
Okay.
I'm running with that.
No, there was an article.
That's my co-host.
There was an article.
First black
There was
man
an article that covered about the Blade movie. How one of the guys was attacking the first Blade movie for not talking about race.
Oh,
Jesus
boy.
fucking
Oh
Christ.
God!
I can't. I've been trying to look for the
they were- they
article.
were- they were
I was
going
trying
after,
to look for the video.
Cut up
and
a
I
bunch of
can't
white
find it.
people. What do they want?
Well,
He always does.
the funny thing about it too
Oh,
is
shit.
like they
I
made this
see
movie.
Tom.
They made this movie called Vacation Friends. I think that's what it's called. And it has John Cena in it, and it's basically about a white couple and a black couple, and they become friends, I guess, on this vacation.
That was a great movie.
I haven't seen it, but Salon was bitching about it, basically saying it didn't talk about race. How can it not be talking about race? And
That's
it's
not
like
what humans do.
and that's problematic. It's like, who fucking cares? Not everything has to be about race. It's like,
It could be the most
can't we just have a
boring
movie where people act like people?
That's
Hollywood
and,
is so
and
annoying
Blade
like that.
acted
Even
like a
like that-
vampire.
Shout out to Tom. He says the first Marvel movie was a duck. How about that for diversity? Tom from Midnight City.
Yep.
And comics, by the way.
Actually, no, you are wrong. You are wrong, Tom. Because you're negating all those movies that came out in the 70s that were equally bad, like
70s
Doctor Strange. 70s
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
So
wait,
comics,
I
I saw
think-
the movie, and I will say this one quick thing is that's one of the few comedies I've seen in recent history that my wife and I both laughed more than once. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was a good movie.
That's good. That's good.
Tom says that was TV. Was that theatrical?
Was that a TV movie?
Ha!
Probably.
Nah, it could have been TV.
Face.
The Doctor Strange movie, the Captain America one, the Fantastic Four, they were all
You know what? That Captain America one, I watched the hell
came
out
out
of when I was
after,
10 years old.
Okay,
it was
Tom, I guess
bad.
you're technically right.
I love the hell out of that Captain America, even though it was straight to VHS and all that. I watched the hell out of that just because I was so happy to see Captain America as a 10-year-old. And like I was like, yeah, Captain America is cool. Like he's on a motorcycle, he just stole from some guy. I remember that scene. He totally stole.
Oh, it's
a
okay when
motorcycle.
he does it, but when Captain Marvel does it, everyone's up in a tizzy. Bigots confirmed.
That's right. That's right. I'm with you.
I
baby.
do miss movies where we
Keep 'em in
saw
line.
blood coming off someone's face when they got punched. Like I forget, like gunshot wounds or actual gunshot wounds. When the combat was mano a mano or
I
mano
love
a lady.
squibs. I
Yeah,
hate
like
digital
John Wick
shooting.
hasn't been too bad in those. Like the John Wick movies, at least it was you saw that as he was going and he was getting his butt kicked and he was kicking butt. You saw that he gets scratches, he gets bruises. There's an effect, right? It's not that, and I think we got to get away from the superhero movies where it don't matter how if you get punched by the Hulk, your head's going to implode. Like, I mean, come on.
Well,
Like,
I think we'll be getting away from those movies very soon as
Yeah.
you know the Marvel movies decline in profitability. I mean, take a look at the last two with Black Widow and Shang-Chi. Not exactly breaking $1 billion there. So Eternals is probably going to flop really
It'll
hard.
flop. It'll be
I
worse than those
hope
two.
so, because here's the thing: Spider-Man has a chance of succeeding. Eternals needs to
Spider-Man
hurt.
is probably going to be the closest to $1 billion, I would think, because it's
I
Spider-Man.
think 700 worldwide. I think
Thor,
maybe 750.
Love and Thunder, I think, might actually get close to
You
half
think
$1 billion.
so?
Half
You're
$1
more.
billion.
I think more like 550. That's where I'm at.
That's why I said $500 million. I think you will get $500 million because it still has Chris Hemsworth in it. And I think
I thought Shang-Chi was already at 300 million.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
Unless that was
I actually
domestic,
think
guys,
Doctor
right?
Strange
no,
has a
yeah.
better chance of
Doctor
than
Strange
Thor
might.
does.
Let's see. If the Marvels was to come out now, it's not gonna that movie's not gonna break a fucking billion like the first Captain Marvel movie. That's
The
gonna.
first
I'm gonna
Captain
laugh.
Marvel movie
That
will
is.
make $1 billion.
I'm looking forward to it
At
because I want to make a
254.
movie laughing at all these people that hailed Captain Marvel as being such a success when we're all like, yeah, it's It only made $1 billion because it was sandwiched between two of the most biggest Marvel movies ever. So
Oh yeah,
If it made $1 billion,
They know
that's
that.
a
They're
big
they
just-
know that, but they'll never admit
Okay.
it.
I did want to comment because you guys were talking about the whole CG thing in general. I think, and actually, I can talk about Nick Weiser. We were watching Michael Bay, great movie, The Rock, and I noticed that like Michael Bay was better when he didn't have a bunch of CG. When he couldn't just make everything.
Well, Michael
explode.
Bay is all about the spectacle, and he is definitely a director that needs to be constrained by budget.
And
because
I think a lot of these directors
he's not a bad director, but if you throw him a lot of money, he becomes a very terrible director. The one thing I will say though about his Transformers movies is that his CG for the robots is actually really well done. The robot designs are garbage, but the way they actually look, they do look realistic. Now, the other thing too that he needs to fucking cut down on is the number of explosions and his spinny camera thing.
I'll tell you what though, that military movie that he did, like whatever it's called, like 15 minutes or some shit like that, came out with Jim from The Office. Matt Von Priestley recommended. Dude, it was really, really compelling movie. It was very restrained and toned down. It didn't have any of the Michael Bay-isms or the over-the-top CG.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And what's up, Tom?
Hell, Tom
came in for 5 minutes because I got to go finish watching Cry Macho. But this is a
oh, I downloaded that tonight. We're gonna watch it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, this is a true fucking story. I went and seen Tommy Boy and Bad Boys both on the same day.
Dude, what a combo, Tom!
After walking out of Bad Boys, I turned to my cousin and I said, "That was one of the best directed films I've ever seen. That Michael Bay is going somewhere." I shit you not.
Visionary.
I regret saying that now.
The first Bad Boy.
He's not a terrible director.
I brought up Michael Bay as an example. I wasn't trying to
director.
The Rock and I think and Bad Boys are amazingly directed films.
Yep,
so great.
Even Armageddon. But like I think
Armageddon,
in general,
where he started. I love Armageddon. But that's where you see a lot of the self-indulgent Bayisms start to come in. Is Armageddon?
Yes, you are correct.
I mean, okay, there's no reason the armadillo had to have miniguns. I'll agree with you there. But it was still.
Why does it have miniguns, Mike? Because I fucking said so.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, the hull is literally impenetrable, and then like they shoot through the impenetrable hull. You're like, okay, well, I guess not then. But it's still, I don't know.
Impenetrable.
In general, I don't think it's just him. I think
oh shit, Eric K.
Eric K.
Greetings, everybody. It's been too long. I've been traveling too much.
Hey, Eric K.
Eric
Hello,
K.
Eric K.
What were you saying?
Okay,
Mitch?
so folks, this is awesome. Not only did I get monetization restored back to my live stream from last night, they also said it was suitable for monetization. So I got a copyright claim last night because of the music. Yes, but I actually uploaded the file and I defeated that and I got monetization back for last night's stream.
That's good.
Nice. Dick's Division
that'll help you more
wins again.
Too.
What's that?
That'll help you more in the future too.
Yeah. They've been yelling the shit out of streams again.
Yeah, basically, like, well, you know me, I get false flagged all the time. We got false flagged the other night on Friday Night Tights, and it's a typical bunch of horse shit. But the more times you fight it and they let it go, then you're less likely to be false flagged again, or at least be brought down by it.
No, that's a good point, Tom, because that reminds me of all the time that like guys like Rippo would get struck, and he'd keep fighting him, and they let him go every time, and now he's not been struck since.
That's probably why Friday Night Tights didn't get pulled down last week. I'm sure we got flagged out the ass.
I don't know. I think.
Oh God, Alex Jones definitely said some memorable things.
I think there's a few people out there that flagged it, and that was it.
I'm sure there was more than just a few, but if there was any episode that we've ever had that has been flagged to hell, it's probably that one.
Yeah,
but the fact that it stayed up,
it's the usual suspects. I don't know how many.
I know. Again,
are, but
I'm kind of more or less. I'm trying to give YouTube some credit. I feel like they may have kind of fixed one thing at least in the system, because it does seem to be like I don't get demonetized as much as I used to.
Because it's not election year.
Yeah, the change.
Hey, Paulie.
Yeah, too.
The streams don't go down nearly as much as they used to, and that's what I was basically told. Is the more you go through this process, the more times they overturn these things, the harder it is for you to get pulled down when you do get flagged.
That's good.
So, like, yeah, they are taking that shit into account. So I've been told.
comics, I must say, last night was a great stream.
Well, thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
It was funny because we didn't hit the topics I really wanted to hit. We got through some of them, but yeah.
I crashed early. It's probably a good thing. I would have derailed the show as usual.
Nah, it's fine. I mean, I don't know if you would be interested in joining anyway, because we start off basically with politics and not necessarily politics, but talking about the whole thing with Sarah Silverman and some of the shit that was going on in Australia. So
yeah, I saw the topics.
It was a good stream.
I was gonna say, when you're talking about the demonetizing, I think every single stream I ever do gets demonetized. Like every single one I do has got that little ad review thing.
Yeah. They submit it for review.
I mean, I do every time, but like it already happened tonight, and it's like every stream I do, I get that little yellow dollar sign, and it's just like I don't know why.
I think it needs to learn. There's only one video that, and I have no idea fucking why it is permanently demonetized, but or not. It's limited. It's not really demonetized.
Yeah.
Was my video about OnlyFans.
And,
really?
Yeah, and it's like I have no fucking idea why. And it's like there's nothing risque. Maybe the thumbnail.
Don't disrespect the thoughts.
It was probably just because you had OnlyFans in the title or the keywords or something.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
I spent one night with somebody who used to work with us.
It's covering a fucking article. Jesus.
Going through a ton of different videos, just trying to see if we could find some kind of pattern in how it demonetizes things, and we couldn't. Like, we tried everything. We had 5 different videos of basically children's poems, and then we just changed the pictures, and then we actually did one of it where it was because they were all like Mary had a little lamb, and then we did one version where it was basically Mary had a fucking little fucking lamb, the whole thing. And it was surprisingly the things that would get demonetized and would get demonetized, we could not find a pattern at all. There was no patterns. The only times that we could find anything was like if you put Trump anything in there, it got demonetized like that. Like that was the only one we could find that was like a pattern. But it didn't matter what we put as the title. It didn't matter what we put for pictures. It just seemed to be random.
It's really weird. It's my Taliban video where I actually sweared a lot in it. Because typically I've been cutting down the vulgarities. Not intentionally or anything. It's just kind of how it played out. But that one, I really fucking said fuck a lot. And initially it was limited, and I fought it, and immediately it sucks because they've been really slow when it came to the videos. It took them like a week to get back to me on the OnlyFans video, and it took them like 3 or 4 days to get back to me on the Taliban video before it was like, oh, it's ad suitable, and it's like, well, thanks. Nobody's watching the video now.
Yeah, that's how they do that.
Yeah, it's like
that
video didn't even break 500. At least all my videos typically will break 500.
As far as the Sarah Silverman thing, all I can say to that is about the whole divorce thing. I thought she was no longer relevant when she got divorced from Jimmy Kimmel. I mean,
were they even married?
Yeah, I don't know if they weren't they married for like a couple of years.
I thought they were just like serious boyfriend girlfriend for a long time.
But either way, when they broke up,
he just like parking the beef bus at.
I was gonna say all her relevance kind of just went out the window either way. So
I thought she was effing Matt Damon.
I mean, she's still like a comic.
I know. It was a video.
That is a loose term at best.
She stopped being relevant when she got canceled. That's what happened.
Well,
last year she went for that part, and they basically said, "Oh, you're the one who did that blackface thing," and she got basically they wouldn't hire her anymore.
The only thing she's done, as far as I know, that's ever been a success was Wreck-It Ralph. I'm trying to think of anything that she's ever been in that's been successful.
Yeah, well, after that,
she had her own show.
She had the Sarah Silverman, or America, I Still Love You. And that got canceled.
And she had her own show for a while. It was Sarah Silverman's show.
Well,
too,
she had the Sarah.
That was a funny show, though. That really was funny.
Yeah, like back in the aughts, I believe, is when she had that.
Honestly, I've never liked her. I mean, I never ever have.
She's not funny.
She can be funny.
I think she's funny. I think so. Like has been. Like if you go back and look at like old Tough Crowd episodes,
20 years ago.
Okay, I'm just saying it's the same person. It's like she used to be funny. She used to be kind of unrestrained. I think it's just once the politics kind of took over, it's like she's just boring.
Yeah, I think we can say that about a lot of comics. Once
most comics have turned to shit. See, that's another thing that sucks. I remember back when comedians in the 80s and 90s were like fucking rock stars.
Right?
Like
Yeah.
I remember the world would stop when George Carlin did a fucking special on HBO.
Yeah, but that's
Or
also because
Eddie
that's
Murphy.
the only time. That's the only way you got comedians was like either you went to a club or there was a special on TV. There was no internet. There was no Instagram. You
Yeah,
didn't
but
have,
there's
like, this.
nobody in the level of Robin Williams, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy is just mentioned.
No one's
and none
on
of
that
these
level,
guys are ever
but,
going to
like,
be on that level. Even
Andrew
Howie
Schultz right
Mandel.
now.
I mean, and that's pretty sad because Howie Mandel was one of the lower ends of those guys, and nobody's even as funny as him.
I mean, Andrew Schultz right now, his tour, like he's on like a private jet. He's doing these crazy shows, big like the Forum in LA. He's doing like big venues. Like he's, it's like I don't know if it's rock star level, but it's like it's probably as close as you're gonna get. I mean,
Chappelle and Chris Rock are about the only two, but those guys are technically old school, right? Like Chris has been around since the late '80s, early '90s. Chappelle's been around since the mid to late '90s.
Chappelle's great, and that dude is fucking funny as hell.
He is funny. He's huge.
Dice Man used to play huge venues, though.
Dice is kind of trying to make a comeback.
To Foulball's point, Schultz is pretty popular. Like he's
yeah.
I don't know what mainstream
I don't know who
is
you're
anymore.
talking about.
Andrew Schultz.
I have to look him up. Hang on.
Pull up
The internet knows who he is.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you got Rogan. I mean, Rogan's one of the most influential
Never seen
people in the
this guy.
world. Rogan might be more influential than Carlin or Dice at their.
Well,
at their
Rogan's
height.
more like the new Carson or Letterman or whatever. He's the comedian who turned into a talk show, right?
Yeah,
Yes, totally.
I agree.
So
with
he's
that.
like
I'm
the
just
new
saying,
generation of that. Yeah.
He reaches more people than those
Oh,
guys
absolutely.
ever did. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Like, he reaches billions of people. Like he's incredibly influential. It's like the world over. So it's like, yeah, he's not a rock star, but I don't know. I guess everything in entertainment is so much more niche, though. Like there's no.
Well,
such
you know who
thing
the
as-
number one comedian is.
Can we go
Nobody's
back
gonna
to
believe
all
this
being
shit.
niche?
Oh, it's probably like someone you wouldn't think. It's like
It's
what's
fucking
that?
Jeff Dunham.
Yeah,
He is the highest grossing comedian right now.
everybody for some reason.
Jeff
people love Jeff
Foxworthy
Dunham.
was for the longest fucking time.
Yeah,
I used to see Dunham in.
Larry's
I
never
saw
had that
Dunham
kind of
when he was in.
I was joking, dude.
what were you saying, Eric?
I was seeing Dunham when he was playing really small clubs and stuff like that down in San Diego, and he was actually pretty funny at the time. Every single time he would pick me and my date out in the audience and like have a one-on-one with him, and he was pretty good back then. And now he's just
He's not bad, but he's safe. That's the
Safe.
thing.
Yeah,
And
he's-
Safe comedy sells.
He's paid his dues. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
He
safe
used to
comedy
be
sells.
edgy though, like when he first started out, and then he got to be just like, "Oh, I'm the funny
didn't
guy,"
mention-
you know.
Yeah, exactly. But he sells a lot. But we didn't mention Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is
Kevin Hart is
huge
big.
Act.
He is big, but
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Kevin Hart. I
But no,
thought he
believe it or not, Jeff Dunham sells the most right now.
No,
Like,
but
he's
I
the
was going
highest,
more back
yeah.
to your point that they're like comics aren't rock stars.
No,
It's
they're
like,
not really
yeah,
anymore.
but-
And Kevin Hart
but
is
they're movie
kind of
stars.
like basically Eddie Murphy 2.0.
Yeah,
Let's be
he's
fucking real here.
huge.
He's good, but he's not that good. He's okay.
Kevin Hart is like Eddie Murphy light.
In a normal
I mean,
world,
really.
though,
Yeah, I was
if you
just about
had
to say,
guys- if you had guys that were actually funny now, like compared to back then, nobody would even talk about Kevin Hart. He wouldn't even be that funny because he's doing the same shtick that a lot of other comedians have already perfected. Right? It's the same thing with Melissa McCarthy. She is
I don't
straight up ripping off John Candy and Chris Farley. Every single fucking thing she does.
I don't think she's that funny.
She's not.
I agree
She's
with
not.
that.
Kevin Hart's better.
I've seen
What's
higher.
better?
Oh, Kevin Hart is clearly
But
funnier.
that's
I'll
not
give you
true
that.
about Kevin Hart. Yeah,
I like
Kevin
Hart.
Hart's
I don't know. I've
authentic.
seen some of his stand up, and I don't think he's all that special.
I don't think he's
all right,
amazing, but it's authentic. He means it. Like it's not.
He's
I don't
not
think it's-
reinventing the wheel, if that's
No.
what you mean. But
No.
he's solid. Kevin
Yeah,
Hart's
he's
solid.
doing his thing. I have
And I'm
nothing
a
against
guy
Kevin
who's
Hart.
not a big fan of his, but he has
neither.
funny. He has funny.
He's
stand-up.
good as
Yeah,
like that
I agree
third
with
guy
Lindsay.
in a movie.
If given my pick, I'd take Dave Chappelle over Kevin Hart any
Fuck
day.
yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, of course compared to Black
Chappelle
Panther.
over most
Fucking
modern
Kevin
comedians.
Hart
Bigotry
would take
confirmed.
him.
Well, Chappelle is
I'm
in
joking.
that he's in that. That's what I'm saying. Chappelle is in that level that's back with like the Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy level.
Chappelle's
I
the
would
funniest
never-
comic in the last
Yeah.
15
Because-
years.
Oh, by a
Maybe
landslide.
Tom is right. Like, because there is something to like, and not just with Kevin Hart, but in general. Sometimes you do feel like, man, are these guys? Are they as good as they were, or are we being old? Are we being nostalgic? But it's like, you know, in the
Fucking
90s,
Eddie Murphy, dude.
Who would
Oh
Kevin
my
Hart
god,
be?
he was
You
so
watch
good.
one of Kevin Hart's concerts and then go watch Raw. and you tell me
that's
that
a bad one. You got to go to like average. Like what's
I
an
don't
average
give it-
guy in the 90s?
that I don't.
That's
you
not-
say
you
that's
can't
not
compare
fair.
to
Eddie
that.
Murphy has done 2 concerts in his life. 2.
Well, 2 big one. Yeah.
2 of the greatest fucking stand-up comedy sets you'll ever.
Delirious
fucking
and
see.
Raw.
But like, take a
Fucking
even
phenomenal.
Seinfeld has stuff that can't compete with Raw. I
Seinfeld
mean,
is
like,
pretty good, but
Raw
yeah.
is pretty incredible.
Raw is
Hey, boy.
hands down. I would say that Raw is probably the greatest, and I love
Look mighty
George
cute in
Carlin,
them
and I
jeans.
love all those guys, Richard Pryor, and all of them. But pound for pound, Raw probably has the most laughs. In that
Raw's the
90
first
minutes.
one, right?
Poor
The
Richard
red label.
Pryor, man. I mean, you know that you hit a low spot when you light yourself on fire trying to smoke crack.
I seen you motherfuckers talking about me.
Meth.
Oh, was it
Lighting
meth?
matches. What's this? Richard
That was
Pryor running
crack.
down the
It was
street.
meth.
Straight, yeah, I think you're right. It was like
It was a meth.
Oh,
like a
It
free
was
base
like
meth.
He was, I don't know. Yeah, he was deep in drugs.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Richard
that
was
sucks.
a very
Hamburger. I
disturbed
do remember
individual.
Hamburger
Ew.
Palace.
You
Hell,
guys wanna
Punk
know?
Waddle.
You want to know anything about Richard
Hey.
Pryor? Hey, Punk Waddle.
Hey,
Okay.
Punk Waddle.
You want to know anything about Richard
Pop Culture
Pryor?
Republic?
See the movie Your
Lindsay.
Life is Calling JoJo
Cold
Dancer? What's it called? Something like that? Your Life is Calling JoJo Dancer or whatever. It's basically based on his fucking life. A lot of that shit that happens in that movie to him happened in real life. He is the son of a whore.
Yeah,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
He,
Like Malcolm X.
Yeah, he rose above all that shit to become a stand-up comedian. He had nothing but women trouble his whole life. That movie covers just about everything and anything that Richard ever had to say, and that's probably going to be the best biopic we'll ever have of his, because nobody's ever given him enough respect to give him a decent one. He had some shitty TV one a couple of years back that I can't remember what is, not Keith Davidson, but the other guy who kind of looks like him. I can't think of his name.
The thing is, you can't chronicle
Yeah.
a real comedian authentically nowadays. Like even the
No,
Patrice
not even
O'Neal,
fucking close.
like the Patrice O'Neal documentary. Even in that, they tried to like suggest that he was, like a crusader for like racial equality. It's like, shut the fuck up. No, he wasn't. Like he's just a hilarious guy. But it's just like what the mainstream is going to consider a comedian. Like they could never do like a real club comic. They could never do like a real cutting it. Like they couldn't do like the things that Pryor was saying. They couldn't praise him because it's so cutting. It just cuts right through society.
Oh,
That's
you
not
could
the type of
never.
thing.
No,
They can't promote that.
they would cancel
Pop-
Richard.
Pop Culture Republic put out a good one. Sam Kinison.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
God.
another one.
I love
Yeah.
Sam Kinison. He was fantastic.
Well, and they tried canceling Richard before it was a thing to be canceled. Remember that? They
Well, they did the
constantly
same
were
thing with like
trying.
Sam Kinison, I believe.
Sam was another one. Yeah.
Well, the thing that was so fucking weird about Sam is the fact that, he was a tent revival preacher.
Yeah.
And my uncle, who, he's a Southern Baptist, he fucking hated Kinison. Hated him. And I never really knew why. And maybe it was because he was a tent revival, pastor or preacher at one point. And then I guess he went to the quote unquote dark side. But it's really funny because if you ever listen to his comedy, it's like he'd always slip a little religion into it.
Oh, I love
And
his bit about
That's
Jesus and
interesting.
why Jesus never and why the apostles never had wives.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that shit? Where were you? We were.
It's always the strangest. It's always the strangest thing going from L.A. to Laughlin, though, because you take this one little 2-lane road down to Laughlin, and you pass right by where Sam Kinison got in the head-on accident with the drunk fuckers in the truck, and it's always the creepiest thing because he just got himself all straight again, and he was flying high, straight and narrow. So much promise, and then he died, and it was just God.
You know that
what a
fucking
tragedy.
kid who hit him never even went to jail. Are you
Yeah,
fucking
and he ended
serious?
up freaking
Underage
fine
drinking.
too.
Yeah,
Wow.
never went to jail.
Dude.
Ascension Dildo brings up this. I've heard Rogan say this. I was never like a lot of that comedy is all before my time. You know what I mean? Carlin and Eddie Murphy Pryor, all that stuff's like just a generation before me. So I didn't
Carlin
like
was
when I
still pretty
watch
good
it.
even.
It's just when I watch it now, I just feel like I'm out of touch. Like I don't have like the cultural touchstones to really get it. You know what I mean? It just is before me.
I don't
But
know.
apparently, I've heard this about Kinison too. Like Rogan has said this before because he's a huge Kinison fan. But I guess like he just kind of like, especially when he was like sort of out there, like a lot of it was just him sort of
Kinison did get
almost
real
like preaching.
heavy into drugs and alcohol, and there was some times where he would fuck up some shows majorly, and he picked a lot of stupid fights.
Did
There
he
was-
shoot at the Comedy Store?
Damn, dude, he died at 38.
Yeah, he was young.
Holy shit.
He was on his way to a show in Vegas. He actually had his own show coming that fall on Fox. He was in talks to, I can't remember what movie it was, but there was a movie that ended up being a big success that he was in talks of being in. Like at the moment that he died, well, like everything was on the up and up for him. He was actually clean. He was like, I think 6 or 7 months sober at that time.
I think it was 7, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And he had just come off a really great stint on Married with Children. So they were like, they gave him his own show on Fox. Like everything was looking up for him. And it just was a tragic fucking moment to have it happen.
This is true though. Like there's at the Comedy Store, it says there's a bullet hole in the Comedy Store where Sam Kinison
I wouldn't be surprised.
They say he shot a warning shot to ward off a furious Andrew Dice Clay.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, he was a Pentecostal preacher.
Yep. Well, him, Pauly Shore, Andrew Dice Clay, Jim Carrey, and Robin Williams would always hang around the Comedy Store. And Pauly Shore would tell stories about when Sam didn't have a place to live, he would sleep on the stage, and Pauly would give him hamburgers.
Oh, hamburgers.
Dude, I'm looking at pictures of Kinison right now. That's a rough 38, man.
Yeah, he looked fucking old as hell.
Pretty good.
Yeah, dude. That's 38.
Let's be I mean, he cleaned up near the end, so hopefully he would have been able to live a lot of years.
And it wasn't enough.
There was a point there where a lot of people weren't sure if he was going to make it that much longer anyway. But
dude, who was
damn near 38?
He looks like Meatloaf.
Because didn't he have a heart attack too at one point?
Yeah, I think he did.
Probably.
Man,
who was the chick with the huge boobs that
which one?
There's Pauly Shore's mom in the middle right there.
I guess it was the chick that was fucking around with Baker. Because he did a video and she was in the Wild Thing video with him.
No idea.
Oh god, I can't remember.
Oh, he dated a ton of fucking models and porn stars.
You know what, man? All those older, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, like comedians, musicians, they were rock stars.
No, Kinison was the guy
Jessica Hahn, thank you.
Yeah, Jessica Hahn, that's right. Yeah. Kinison was the guy who took the idea of a comedian as a rock star and fucking ran with it, right? Like he was the guy who was that guy.
Oh, he even had videos on MTV for God's sakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Wild Thing song and all that kind of shit. Like, I mean, he was big at one time. Like I said, it's real sad that he went when he did because he was on his track to kind of recovery and all that kind of shit. But yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah. I still think a lot of it had to do with the fact that there were really only a few.
For some reason, I swear he was going to be in a Disney movie, for fuck's sake, and I can't remember what one it was. Oh, God.
You're right about that. Now.
Damn it. Pisses me off, too, because I can't remember what the hell it was. I'll look it up here probably. I don't remember, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. Like comedians, there were like a few, like you said, rock stars, and then there's just like a bunch of club comics, but there was only a few specials to go around. Like there wasn't the same access to comedy. Even throughout the 90s, there wasn't that much. As we're living in such a different era now with like Netflix having all those comedy specials up and every comic having their Instagram and podcasts. Like now it's like there's thousands and like a lot of them are great. Like there's a lot of really funny, talented, good, like insightful comedians in the world right now, but it's just like there's not really a call for like these sort of single rock star type guys. I mean, like you said, you have the Chappelle. Other than that, though, it's like I don't know. It's just not really the same environment. It's not the same time.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about the celebrity being dead for other reasons, right? But like, I think in general, and we were talking on the Culture Crime Fighters about these, instance. What was she? A TikToker, 124 million. Like that's the new celebrity. Period. Like and so celebrity and fame and a lot of these mediums, whether it's music, whether it's acting, whether it's comedy, they don't really have stars, at least new stars. All the stars that exist, you said Chappelle, well, he's really from the old era. You know what I mean? You don't really have modern day stars. It's like it's not. I think we're too nicheified nicheified. I'm not sure you pronounce the word, but it's too many niches. It's too many different spaces for like one guy or one girl to be the biggest star in comedy or the biggest star in anything, really.
It's like the whole TikTok thing. It's like that TikTok girl has as many followers as Kevin Hart.
You talking about the OK Boomer girl?
No, some girl. I don't even know her name. I forgot already. But we were just looking up. It's like the most popular girl on TikTok. I don't know if she's the OK Boomer girl or not, but she was just some.
Well, she made a lot of fucking money, and
honestly,
I think she's the OK Boomer girl. She was like the Bernie girl or something like that. She made a lot of fucking money, and
I don't know who like I've heard that name. I don't know who the OK Boomer girl is. If she walked in
zero clue
with a shirt, I promise you on everything I love. And the only reason I know of the OK Boomer is this community.
Charlie D'Amelio. That's the biggest TikTok influencer. I don't know.
What? I don't know who.
Oh yeah, she is the Bernie girl.
That's the Bernie girl.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she has so many. We really couldn't understand it. Like we were like, what the hell is the appeal of this girl? Like, and we weren't trying to be like,
she's cute is all there is to it. And
but there's that. Why her?
There's a cute girl at the bar right now. You know what I mean? There's a girl. I just fucking went to the gas station and saw a girl hotter than her just walking into the gas station.
Well, it says she's hot. It says she's cute and she's got a decent rack. So that's the reason why I think she got big. No pun intended.
It's just celebrity is different. The world is flat, so to speak. So it's more people are more into the this sort of thing. The parasocial thing I think is a really huge thing. And the brand worship thing, so that it's more about being associated with something bigger that makes you cool. So she was the Bernie, that she got her big start by being the Bernie OK Boomer or whatever the fuck she was, girl, and then now she becomes her own brand, and that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, but it's like it's so weird that she's as popular as Kevin Hart, like has as much social media following as someone who spent like his whole life like honing a skill and is a movie star. This girl on her phone doing little like doopy doop dances, same level of fame. Like that's fucking crazy.
I can't believe how many obituaries of Sam Kinison are actually digitized online.
That's
like almost
crazy.
all the major ones. Wow.
Thoth, you got a boogie?
Yeah, I think you guys have a full line up here, and I can probably head out so you guys can get a chance to chat more. I'm just mostly in the background here, so it's all good.
He's getting more booze.
Oh, sure. I show up and you gotta go. It's fine. Get out of here then.
It's great. And Pat S. Do chill. I mean, she's over 20 now. I mean, that video came out like 4 years ago.
What happened?
No, he's saying no. That girl's 16. Chill. It's like no, she's not 16 anymore. That video came out when she was 16, but she's not 16 anymore.
Was she 16 then?
You can still say a 16-year-old's cute. You didn't say you wanted to bang her.
Yeah, I just thought she was cute.
You
I
seemed a lot
didn't say anything
older
about
than
wanting
that,
to have
but-
sex with her.
Alright.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it's just
So,
she is. But she is only 17.
Is she only 17?
Yeah.
The Charlie D'Amelio?
I thought the OK Boomer thing came out like 2 years ago.
I think we're talking about two different girls, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, this is just the most popular. We were just talking. I'd never heard this girl's name in my life. We were just looking at it. I saw like a meme video of like, there's that guy who says like snarky things over like social influencers, and they were just focusing on her. And it's like she's 129, and she literally doesn't do anything. Like there'll be videos of her putting on makeup, and you're like, okay, but why are 129 million people wanting to see this? That's what we didn't understand.
All right, I found it here. Okay, this is what it was.
I guess I don't get to go and exit thing, so I'll see you all later.
Nah, give him an exit thing.
Yeah, we love you, Thoth. Sorry.
Well,
Do your
comics
exit.
wanted to talk about 16-year-olds, so I guess that's more important. Ow! I'm just kidding.
What a dick. Get the fuck out of here.
It was great having a good time with you guys tonight. Thanks for the chat, especially for the newcomers that arrived late. Tom, comics, great to be on a chat with you guys. Eric, always a pleasure. And all my friends there at 32 Flavor Flavs. It's good seeing you again tonight. It's always a pleasure getting a chance to talk comics and media, pop culture, everything. Just Another Red Shirt, my fellow mod with Eric K over on the Nerdrotics channel. V-Dubs, love spending the time with you, man. It's always great to hear what you have to say. And Matt, it's always good, man. Thanks for the invite.
I don't even know what the fuck he said.
I don't. I come back from heating up my nachos and Thoth has to go.
Yeah, Thoth has to go. Night, Thoth.
Bye,
Night, everybody.
Bye,
Have a good
Egyptian
one.
god.
See you later, boys.
Later, bro.
Okay, I finally know who OK Boomer Girl is. It's the
Okay.
one Gundam made fun of because she bought a $2.5 million apartment
Yeah, that's
and
the
was
chick I'm talking about.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nicole
the-
Sanchez.
yeah the
She's a Twitch
socialist
streamer.
lady and was like screw the rich, and then she buys this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the reason why they call it because she did that thing, okay, boomer, and then she was talking about being a socialist or taxing the rich or some shit like that, and now she has this big ass fucking mansion. So hypocrite, champagne socialist,
Nico. Yeah, I don't know who this person. I don't care. But that's kind of what's cool about like modern entertainment, right? It's like this girl's audience is never going to watch FNT. You know what I mean? Like it's everyone can have their own thing. Like she's definitely a hypocrite for sure. She is fucking cute as shit though, huh? Whoa.
Wait, how old is she?
Goddamn, she's 24.
I suspect
24.
some of her
Yeah,
audience are trolls on it.
She wouldn't have been
Yeah,
16.
we got
man.
CID nowadays. We don't know about these.
I mean,
no R. Kelly expectations.
She's pretty
I'm
fucking
serious.
I told you that it was like 2 or 4 years ago or something. I knew.
Well,
she
then
was
she
over
wouldn't have
20.
been 16 then.
Yep.
I don't know who this. I don't know who this person is,
This-
but I'm
I
just
was-
like, she's pretty hot.
This is,
She's
I was
24.
listening
What do you
to
think
days
she thinks?
I don't
You know
think
what I
she
mean?
thinks.
Thank you. I was going to say that.
What is
I
this?
found the movie.
I,
This is the
I
movie.
think at this point, most 20-year-olds, they don't think for themselves. They're just indoctrinated. And that's, again, not all 20-year-olds, of course. But
I mean, I was a fucking annoying dick in my early 20s. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely had, like, oh, man, the 1%. You know, I had, like, annoying, like, fucking college girl opinions. You know what I mean? Like, everyone does. You went to college, you get
of course,
indoctrinated.
dude, you're a
How about
fucking
that?
millennial. When I was in my 20s in
What-
college, I was too busy trying to get laid.
Well,
No,
I mean,
listen, when
I
I
didn't
was in
do
my
one
20s,
thing, comics. I was also fucking.
I was a mess. So like, I didn't have time to think that I was better than anything. I'm like, I just hope, like, I'm gonna have my bills paid and not like fuck up everything.
I
was
just
a
got
complete
I
wreck.
just got fucking drunk and I would pee on my own freaking vomit. I do so wild shit every night. That's
Pee
all I
on
do.
your own vomit?
You
Yep.
pee on your own vomit.
Okay.
I am somehow
yeah.
not shocked at all. There's no shock.
Dude, I lived a rush. I woke up at homes I don't know how I made it to. That's what I did when I was in my early 20s.
I'm still impressed at the fact that you did not fucking puke once during Vegas. The man at night was like perpetually loaded.
Oh yeah.
You tried to pee on Neurotic's feet, but
Yeah.
you
Well, he didn't
throw
try.
up.
Yeah, at least you didn't throw up.
It wasn't his goal.
At
pissed on
at the
Neurotic's
Millennium
feet?
Fandom bar,
It
Gary
would've
has a
did
story
the
about how he's
effect.
talking to Nick Weiser, and Nick Weiser's taking a piss, and Nick Weiser goes to turn around, and he's like, "No, no, no, no,
My cousin did that once
God.
in Vegas. Feet on my shoe. Pissed me off so bad.
You're that kind of a drunk.
Yeah,
Pissed
pissed you on.
Neurotic? What the hell?
no."
man?
He didn't piss
did
on
not.
Neurotic.
He tried.
He
He
almost
got
did.
pretty close.
Almost. Almost
Yeah.
doesn't count, but sometimes it's close.
I followed up with Gary the night later. We talked about it, and for added context, he said it's all good. He said Faithy was a very funny moment in time.
And then Nick whipped it out and pissed on his shoes. The end.
But
Yeah. So
that
tell us
self-control.
about how you peed on your own vomit. That's the story we all want to
Oh
hear.
man! So I used to love Taco Bell, and during those days, I was the Skull Vodka days, and I ordered about 9 tacos from Taco Bell. I ate them all, of course, and I told my friend to pull over because he's my DD. And after I drank a bunch of Skull Vodka, I'm like, dude, I think I got to puke, and I got work in 2 hours. And so I puked my guts out on the side of the street. And then I decided, he's like, hold on, what are you doing? Hold up, wait. I got to pee too. So I piss on my puke. He's just like, dude, are you peeing on your puke? I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, dude, a cockroach just passed. I'm like, I'm not done peeing. I need to finish first.
That's yeah. That sounds like drunken Taco Bell puke night. I did notice something while we were talking, which I thought was hilarious, and it relates to Friday Night Tights. So I don't know if everyone, I mean, obviously comics and Eric Kane, about this, and Red Shirt and Tom. And okay, I don't know if Nick knows about this or Vidge, but I guess there was like a little Taco Bell controversy this evening.
Yes.
I used to work at Taco Bell.
Did you really?
Yeah, for way
Taco Bueno is better, far better than Taco Bell.
Never been to Taco Bueno.
Taco Bueno is amazing.
But so Ryan took it very personally that Taco Bell was kind of besmirched. Apparently, that's his favorite fast food or his favorite place to eat overall. And this is Tim Dillon just tweeted this out like 20 minutes ago, which I thought was hilarious. And he says, what's strange is nothing will ever be the same after this thing. Where you live, who your friends are, the job you do, or even who you love. But Taco Bell has been stunningly consistent. Not even a joke. It's like maybe the most successful thing this country has ever done.
Yet they don't have half the shit that used to be on their menu, but sure.
Tom's like, this is bullshit. I hate it.
Yeah, if there's a Taco Bueno in your area, you should go there. Anytime I go to Dallas, I always make a pilgrimage to Taco Bueno.
Comics in Dallas, your chorizo breakfast quesadillas are god level.
Of course, it's
holy
chorizo.
Shit! It was. I would have given that straight. It takes a lot for me to give a food 9.5 out of 10. I'd probably give those things like a 9.7. That shit was a meal in itself.
I'm not a big fan of chorizo. My wife likes it.
Oh, I love it. Especially a breakfast quesadilla. And those things are portion size. Those things are, like I said, they're meals in itself. Usually, quesadilla is like a good appetizer or something to pass the time to enjoy. Those things are meals down there. I love it.
Man, breakfast tacos in Texas are amazing. Bean and cheese are fantastic. Barbacoa is amazing. Barbacoa, man.
Barbacoa is great.
That's good stuff.
It looks like there is a Taco Bueno in Austin, which I didn't know. So I can go to a Taco Bueno. It's only like 15 minutes away.
Just south.
Well, fucking A, man. Get that shit fucking Uber Eats to your place.
I better check it out. It's far south. I never go that far south.
They used to have a Taco Bueno in San Antonio, but it fucking closed down.
In Arizona, they have a place called the Pink Taco.
Yeah, there's one in LA too, the Pink Taco on Sunset.
I thought it would have been great if
so what exactly are they selling at the Pink Taco?
Yeah, Bruce
it's
Lombardo's
tacos.
in the chat.
But I thought it would have been great if the Arizona Cardinals actually allowed the sponsorship of Pink Taco to their stadium. That would be great.
Eric K, I don't want to cut you off, but I got a super chat for $5 from Eric K. He says sent me a $5 super chat. Thank you, Eric K. I appreciate you watching. 27th flavor of Nick Weiser puke and peas served in a lovely pair of Converse.
Who is this Eric K person you speak of?
Just a fan.
Just a fanboy. He's a groupie.
Yeah. Thank
you.
Eric
K, we have to read Eric K's super chat. Let us read.
Yeah, sorry, Eric, you were saying? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying that it would have been great for the Arizona Cardinals to play in the Pink Taco.
That would be great. That would be awesome.
Yes, it would have been.
Yeah.
That would have been progressive, right?
It
Or would
depends.
that have been,
I don't know. Are you making a joke? It kind of sounds like the male gaze to me. You know what I mean? Pink Taco. You're sort of, you're not. Are you celebrating it?
It is a legitimate restaurant who was trying to bid for their naming of the stadium. It would have been excellent.
That's awesome. The
Those
Pink
damn
Taco
big
Stadium.
ass
That
Stadium.
rules.
Oh wow.
They
That's
should have
great.
went with it.
Yeah, I'd say that's the best.
And what did they go with? What did they go with? Tuna boat?
Tuna boat.
It's probably some corporation. But apparently the fucking employees, according to Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Division, hell to Dick's Division, employees at Taco Bell can barely roll a joint. They can't roll a burrito worth the fuck. Is that from personal experience, Bruce Lombardo? Don't incriminate yourself if your state does not legally allow. But just asking, like, have you tried to get pre-roll joints from Taco Bell? Because what Taco Bell are you going to? Because I would like to.
He's going to a very special Taco Bell.
That does sound like that's the type of business that they should like invest in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that does seem like a good.
You think they aren't getting ready for that?
Fuck Torchies.
Combination, yeah, a combination dispensary Taco Bell like makes sense.
You know they're thinking about it.
Yeah, right.
One
They, like,
stop
definitely look
shop.
the other way. Yeah. What did you say about what was that you were going off on there, comics?
Oh, he's saying Torchy's is better than Taco Bueno.
Torchy's? What is
Torchy's is an Austin taco place.
Is it now?
It's okay.
God, there's so many places I need to check out now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Torchy's is actually decent. I just, it's not my favorite place though.
There's a place called oh, there we go, Torchy's Taco. There's a place called El Taquerito that's kind of everywhere. There's like a few different locations, and that shit's fucking solid.
Jesus, why is there no fucking Taco Bueno in San Antonio?
I don't know.
The closest is Austin.
Torchy's is right by me. I can go there as well. It's even closer.
They opened a Torchy's right by my house.
It's even closer than Taco Bueno, so I might go there first, Bruce. Hell.
Sure, I'm thinking about leaving and 6 shows up.
Who's 6? Hell. Nice for coming in. But you want to get going there, Thomas?
Well, I was gonna go finish watching that movie here.
That's right. I'm actually pretty beat. I don't know if anyone else is dying to get some stuff out, but it's been kind of a long week, so I might just wrap up.
I'm cool with that.
All right,
yeah, I'm gonna go to bed.
Right on. Yeah, we'll wrap it up then. Well, this was the MFer Cocktail Lounge. Thank you guys for thanks for hanging. Anyone want to plug anything? Stuff coming out? Comics? Got anything coming up?
If stuff's coming out of it, do not put your dick in it.
Let's see. I gotta make a fucking video about Kelly Sue DeConnick now because that's fucking comedy gold right there.
Her name sounds like an STD.
Please make that video.
If you've seen Kelly Sue DeConnick, you would think she's an STD. Anyway,
I got DeConnick again.
Yeah. I guess the videos are gonna work out, guys.
Man, of course, DeConnick dick again? Yeah, DeConnick dick, man. It itches like a motherfucker.
DeConnick dick.
Anyway, of course, there's the, you can watch this every Monday and Thursday. And of course, Friday Night Tights. And
of course,
I should be on with Onzo this weekend talking about the. Can I call it an episode? What if?
It was some type of episode.
Maybe it was like a
more akin to a psychotic episode.
Psychotic works. Psychotic episode works. No, it's
or delusional episode.
It's basically what if Killmonger becomes Black Panther and nobody gives a shit. I mean, that's basically the summation of the episode. And quite frankly, I'm like, why am I watching this now?
I think Critical Drinker put it best that everything lately is the MCU sucking Wakanda's dick.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Ultimately what it is, it's like, honestly, there's nothing new. They basically took a bunch of scenes from various MCU movies. They added some stuff into it, and they made Killmonger Black Panther.
You don't say.
Yeah, and that was it. I mean, it's like, do I have to keep watching this crap?
I'm good. I don't need to see that.
They peaked with the Doctor Strange episode.
Yeah, that Doctor Strange episode was the fucking peak because that was a really good episode.
Yep.
And like I said, it is the best original episode on D plus because everything else they put out is fucking garbage. And then there's this, and it's just like, why do people think this episode's good? Because it's not. It's really not. Anyway,
that's literally all I've ever heard.
Basically, it's like anything that has T'Challa on it gets overpraised, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you guys are alt-right.
Wakanda forever, dude. Come on.
Wakanda forever. Alt-right confirmed. These Yahtzees.
Yeah, fine. I don't give a shit. Call me an Nazi at this point.
You're like, fine, yeah. Okay.
He's like,
I legit don't give a shit because it's like, it's like fucking consume, eat your swill.
Why
call me a Nazi because I didn't like your pre-manufactured garbage coming from a large corporation.
You're supposed
don't you get to the point where it's like
forever?
Yeah,
because that's what you're told to do.
You is the
do as you're told.
That's
but I'm with you.
Don't think and just consume. Put it in your mouth. Eat it. It's so tasty. Eat that shit sandwich. It's so good.
It's like me and Vidge have talked about it though. I get to the point where I'm like, I don't even want to bother criticizing it. I don't even care. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
It all sucks, and I'm fine.
Man,
it sucks. I'm
they're
bored
making
with it.
soup. Somebody brought this up. Superman and Batman are going to end up being gay once they make Tim Drake Batman.
Well, they already made a gay Superman. We talking.
That's what I mean, but that's the point. They're gonna ship them. They're gonna make Tim Drake Batman for some reason and ship him with Superman so they can butt fuck. I can't remember who. It may have been Cold Era himself.
And they'll be having butt sex.
That. Yeah.
What's the old saying? Don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining.
Yeah, exactly. Tom, you got anything to plug, my friend?
Don't piss on your vomit and tell you it's raining. What?
Don't piss on your vomit.
Don't piss.
Don't do it.
I don't know what to plug anymore.
Well, you can find him at Midnight's Edge after dark. Often on Midnight's Edge. I guess the
I do the shits, and I'm there.
Yeah, he does Midnight's Edge after dark and daytime Midnight's Edge.
And you can catch him on Mead Radio.
Mead Radio is an awesome good time.
I love it. I love that you're like an old school DJ. It's really fun.
I spent way too much money on music the other day.
No, you didn't spend enough money.
That's right, Nick. Speaking
Probably
of Nick,
true.
Nick, what's coming down the pike for you, brother?
Well, tomorrow or technically today, I'll be doing a birthday stream around morning to noon hours. I'll do a half Mahler style stream around that. And then Toxic Tuesday, I'll be talking about The Last Boy Scout. That will be awesome. And I've got some more metal I'll be reviewing since I'm on a stride right now. And I've got more shorts and voice impersonating to talk about too. It's going to be glorious from voice impersonations to talk about carcasses to being toxic about The Last Boy Scout. It's going to be absolutely glorious. Oh, and apparently I yell at Bart Cars with Comics Division and Culture Casino Sir Talks on Monday nights where we talk about the most ridiculous shit ever. So you need to watch that shit. We have a jolly time, and we need a chat who gives us laughs so we can get through those panels. Thank you, Matt. It's been fun. I love hanging out with the boys, being toxic, and drinking alcohol and making bad decisions. This is what bad decisions are for.
Hell yeah. I love having you, Nick. Thanks for coming on, brother. And,
my pleasure.
Vigilante, what can we expect from you in the next couple days?
Oh, man. I have nothing. Tomorrow I do a stream. I do a late Saturday stream. I have to watch The Last Boy Scout again. It's been a while because I want to see it again. I remember loving it, and I want to talk about it with Nick.
You should come on if you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to come on. I'm gonna try to come on. I'll tentatively, yeah. But yeah, just sub to me. I'm very close to being monetized as far as watch hours. I'm far as fuck as far as subs. So if you want Vigilante to get demonetized by YouTube in the future, please give me a sub, and you can go through that experience of me in a few months complaining, "Oh, I've been demonetized." But no, thank you all.
But the best part is, if you do get demonetized, all you have to do is play the race card.
Yeah,
I don't think that'll work.
Just tell them you're a Blasian midget, trans.
You know what? Did you hear what happened to the one DC writer because she didn't make Harley Quinn gay enough? She's like black, autistic, lesbian, fucking disabled. That didn't save her. I don't think it's gonna work. She's on the left. She's a complete leftist.
That's fucking hilarious, though. If
yeah,
you really
T. Franklin.
think about it. She
Look
checks
up
all
T.
the
Franklin.
boxes because she didn't make Harley Quinn gay enough. Everyone got mad.
Back to The Last Boy Scout, though, I will say that has one of my favorite scenes in a movie in it when Bruce Willis comes home and realizes his wife's been cheating on him because the fucking toilet seat's up. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Fucking A. And also, you guys can always catch me and Vig every Wednesday. Culture Crime Fighters. We are changing the time to midday, but make sure you sub to Vig and I so you can see that. And whenever you catch your friendly wrenches in the chat, Just Another Red Shirt and Eric K, make sure you give them a little love. They work hard for us, and they're great people. And yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, guys. Six, Zax, Sencha Dodo. Lindsay the Cynical Geek, Cold Era, Bruce Lombardo from Dick's Division, everyone who was hanging out today, Punk Waddle, Hale, thank you guys, appreciate you, and we'll see you all next week.
Six, I want some tacos, but you can keep the pee.
Cold Era, you're right. Watch Primetime Kings on 24.
Tom's never gonna eat tacos the same way. He's gonna think about pee when he eats tacos, though.
Oh no, tacos rule.
Okay, good. Good.
All right, guys.